Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends. And we can tell you it's a beautiful morning. We have 72 degrees. We'll give you the skinny on the weather coming up. In the meantime, we want to say good morning to all of our friends in the studio. And that includes Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Good to see the Prince from Princeville. Tyrus Killian, good to see you as well.
Good morning.
And I assume Dave will be here shortly.
Well, look straight ahead.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there we go. And good thing we're on visual. We're on visual. Roger, I stayed here all night. The doors were unlocked. I was really quiet.
He was out on the couch out there.
Yes, I was.
I was doing updating on the weather, which I do every morning, and a few other things. And boy, just by the skin of my chin, or whatever.
The skin of your teeth.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Did we get it on the YouTube and on the air? You know, you get invested in certain things, and I'm not good at multitasking. Some people are very good at that. I am not. I'm not good at it. So the point is that I was busy, and the next thing I know, it's 5:58, and at 5:59 is when I get the cue from Louis Linder. Throw this button and hit this switch, and you're on the air. Well, how did everybody do overnight? Anything exciting yesterday?
Oh, every night.
Did we get rain last night?
Exciting.
I swear I saw between Morton and Peoria. I swear that I saw puddles on the highway.
Well, the driveway was kind of damp.
Yeah, mine
but
too. We had a little bit of showers, I think.
I think we got a little bit of water.
it was very quiet. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
More to come, though.
More to come. Yeah, exactly right.
Which is a good segue to our weather, right?
Yes, coming up, as a matter of fact. And as usual on a Wednesday morning, we will be chatting with Peoria Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan. I don't know. They've kind of pushed this Mangione trial. They have tried to push it off the news, but it keeps coming back. And one of the things Mangione or his attorneys, I suspect it's more the attorneys, they want a public TV trial. They want the cameras in the studio or in the courtroom, which could be the studio at any rate. I'm trying to figure out why. And I can see where the attorneys would want it because they get publicity and they get to go home at night and tell their wives and their family, did you see me on TV? Did you see me on TV? Type of thing. I suspect, and we'll talk to Kevin about it, Mangione kind of likes it because he's a killer and a chicken you-know-what killer because shot the guy in the back. I mean, who shoots people in the back?
Cowards.
Cowards, you're exactly right. Or chicken bleep bleep.
Yes.
Type of thing. And so you got some harebrained women who are in love with the guy, and they don't even know the guy. And you know, if they, I'd like for them to get married so that he could shoot them in the back. I mean, the guy.
We're not advocating.
No, we're not. Or are we? Or am I for them?
know.
Anybody that shoots somebody in the back doesn't have a chance to defend himself. In my opinion, doesn't deserve to.
And he
live.
sullied the name Mangione, too, because I think of Chuck Mangione.
Mangione, yeah.
It feels so good.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the musician,
Right.
yeah.
What's his
Every time we hear the
first name?
Chuck,
Chuck Mangione.
the musician.
Yeah.
This guy is, what is it, Leon?
Leo,
Le-
I think it's Luigi.
Chicken Blake.
Oh,
Luigi
Luigi, I think.
Mangione.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like a Mario Brothers character, correct?
So we're going to talk to him about that and a few other things that have come up. The latest breaking news is the president is claiming, I think for the umpteenth time, that they may be close to signing a deal with Iran, and he's still dealing with the same liars that have been issuing threats against America for too many months, too many years for that matter. So we're following that story very closely. But since we're into the news, let's do just that, bring you the most comprehensive news in Peoria Radio from 6 to 9. start with weather from Dave, brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, bridging the gap between hospital and home with skilled nurses, therapists, and personal care assistants. You know, they've been around helping people in their homes since 1993. Quality care by quality healthcare professionals, and they're available 24/7 to take care of your loved one. And you can reach the good people at Spoon River, 309-245-0723. Dave, what do we have for weather today?
What we have is a Wednesday that's dawning mostly cloudy. And it's looking today like we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms, and some of those storms could produce some heavy rainfall later this afternoon. A high of 84 degrees today. And then, of course, the showers continue tonight, low of 68, so much needed rainfall, we hope, is on the way. Tomorrow looks like partly sunny and not as warm, a high of 80, but a chance for some showers also. Friday dawns sunny and 84. Saturday, another carbon copy, sunny of 86. And currently, we're looking at 72 degrees with some 94% humidity. So it feels a little sticky.
It's still
today.
summer.
It is still summer.
Heat and humidity,
Yes,
the usual
who wouldn't
combination.
want that,
Yeah.
right?
Now the news presented by Matt Wall, certified public accountant and tax specialist. Matt is with Gordon Stockman Wall, a graduate of Bradley University, hooray, hooray, and DePaul University up in Chicagoland. Matt provides a broad range of accounting, auditing, management consulting, and income tax planning. He's available by phone at 309-692-4030. And I believe, Terry, you have our lead story.
I do. Another possible attempt on the life of President Trump was ended with the arrest of 38-year-old John Tali
Oh, good job.
of Downey, California. Police and federal authorities said the man was grabbed while walking on the golf course at the Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes Sunday. Tale was taking pictures and shooting video when he was taken into custody. During a pat-down, police found a loaded magazine in his pants. A search of his car uncovered a loaded weapon and a magazine.
Last night, the president spoke at a Republican fundraising event at his golf club and then flew Air Force One to Las Vegas, where he'll speak tonight at the Red Rock Resort. He's on the campaign trail on behalf of Republican candidates who are on the midterm ballots in November. He's hoping the GOP will retain control of the House and Senate.
There were primary races yesterday in 5 states: Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Washington, and Virginia. Much of the media focused on the Democrat race for U.S. Senate in Michigan between radical left-wing Abdul El Sayed and moderate Representative Haley Stevens.
I know. I get choked up, too, whenever I'm getting political
Came out of
results,
nowhere.
so, yeah.
El Sayed is leading. And in Missouri, radical leftist Wesley Bell easily defeated Cori Bush for the Democratic nomination for the House of Representatives. Voters also rejected a measure to eliminate the state income tax. 8 states have no such tax, such as Florida, Texas, and Tennessee.
Senator Rand Paul says he'll refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress after a committee vote tomorrow morning. Paul, chairman of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee, wants Fauci investigated for failing to answer key questions regarding his alleged contradictory state comments to Congress and disclosures in his diary.
That planned massive bombing attack on Iran remains on hold. President Trump says he's hopeful of reaching some kind of peace agreement with Iran, but Iranian officials say there are no scheduled talks on the table. Reportedly, military officials want to proceed and get on with it.
Meanwhile, Ukraine President Zelensky says its flight of drones in July inflicted massive casualties on Russian forces. He said more than 30,000 Russian soldiers were killed or injured. President Putin has recruited troops from Africa, Asia, and Latin America to help replace fallen Russian soldiers.
In local news, Tazewell County Coroner Charles Hanley reports the death of a 70-year-old man from Delavan who was found dead in McNaughton Park in rural Pekin. The coroner said the man was known as a long-distance runner and suggested the death was heart-related. He did not identify the victim.
Peoria police did release the name of the woman who drove her car into other vehicles and gas pumps at the Circle K station in the 2900 block of North Adams in North Peoria. 58-year-old Christina Gibson was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and driving under the influence. One of the cars she hit injured 2 people who went to the hospital. Gibson was later released.
Yeah, it sounded like she was playing bumper pool with a car.
I think
That's
so.
my old neighborhood, the 2900 block of North Adams, as I was raised in the 2900 block of North Madison, just a block away.
In a sports note, a French Excuse me. In a sports note, a French transgender basketball player is hoping she will get the chance to play in this country's WNBA. Julie Tedhart, a 34-year-old biological male, once known as Jimmy, dominated league play in Europe, averaging 21 points a game and 20 rebounds. No word on whether the WNBA is interested.
Boy, that's a big issue going to be for the WNBA. There's been no word from them. I saw some photos of the guy playing basketball with the girls or the women, and you talk about just unequal. That's a good illustration of where we're going with the idea
Jimmy
that
just wants to play.
a guy, Jimmy wants to play with the girls, if you pardon the expression. Anyway, let's see what our friends at WCBU have to say this morning.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Rich Drager. Caterpillar has announced a $10 million workforce development initiative to strengthen manufacturing in Illinois over the next 5 years. Asha Varghese is Caterpillar's head of corporate social responsibility. She says the goal is to make careers in manufacturing more attractive and attainable.
One of the ways in which we're looking at this ecosystem is really to say, how do we create those career pathways and career progressions so they can see a future in manufacturing?
The effort is part of Caterpillar's larger $100 million pledge towards global workforce development. A federal judge says Illinois does not have to hand over its complete, unredacted voter registration database to the Trump administration. Capital News Illinois reports Judge Colleen Lawless said the Department of Justice failed to provide a legitimate reason for seeking the information. The feds say they need the voter files to determine whether states are complying with federal laws requiring them to purge their voter rolls of ineligible voters, including non-citizens. It's lights out on a proposed 5-megawatt community solar farm in Mackinac Township. The Tazewell County Board voted 17-2 to reject permission to build the solar farm on part of a nearly 50-acre parcel at the intersection of Lowry and Gresham Roads. An explosive legislative inspector general's report documents multiple instances of sexual harassment by a former Democratic lawmaker. In a warning to listeners, this story from Awa Iqbal includes graphic details.
The report focuses on what one victim called the creepy behavior of disgraced state rep Harry Benton. When the Plainfield Democrat took office in 2023, his former staffer said he'd made sexual comments about her and told her he was, quote, keeping her off the pole by employing her. This year, a female lobbyist said Benton told her that he, quote, might be a 5, but I like a 10, and, quote, you are too hot to be a lobbyist. The report notes House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch's office encouraged the former staffer to go to the Legislative Inspector General, but she didn't. Benton resigned in July. I'm Awa Iqbal.
And I'm Rich Drager.
I don't know why, but some of that sounded very familiar. Anyway, let's get things from our sports department on a Wednesday morning, and that includes our good friend of Princeville. And Tyrus, what do you have? Cubs win!
Thank you, Roger. Let's start with some Peoria sports news. The Peoria Chiefs at 51-51, so they're 500 now.
Yes, they are.
They play today against the Quad City River Bandits, affiliate with the Kansas City Royals. They play at 6:35 p.m. today. It's a home series. And they got 5 games left. And I think these next couple games, you can bring your furry friend
Oh, really?
down to the ballpark.
Do you pay admission for the furry friend?
I don't think so. I don't think you need to. You just-
Would the furry friend, that would include cats as well as dogs, would it not?
Well,
Would you bring a cat?
No.
too? No.
could you bring
I don't
chickens?
think so either.
Farm animals?
No, they're feathered. They're not
Okay.
furry.
Oh, okay. So you can bring some cows.
Yeah, I can bring a
Perhaps,
cow.
Okay.
Small cow.
Oh yeah, just small woodland creatures. Could you bring them?
Your baby goat.
Bovine creatures.
And Roger the store.
Yeah.
Show his
Well,
gun.
Well, you
boy.
remember yesterday when we talked to Julie Holthaus of Assumption, Illinois. I said, do you have a cow? And she said, we used to. I said, well, what happened? didn't she say use your imagination?
Yeah.
Dinner time.
Yeah, we've been eating.
Yeah.
Poor Bessie
Yeah.
sure tasted good last night.
The river bandits, right?
Roll River
So do they
Bandits.
Yeah,
steal the
they're
river? Are they? Is that there's no river there anymore? Is that?
They are traditional in the league
Yeah.
rivals
Yes, they are.
between
Oh,
the
yeah, they
Chiefs
Yeah,
and the Quad Cities.
they are.
And I forget who. What's the affiliation
Kansas City.
with Quad Cities?
Kansas
We're with the
City.
Cardinals,
Yep.
and Quad City. You think is with who?
The
Cedar
Royals.
Rapids is with Minnesota. I think the Twins.
Yep.
They're with Kansas City Royals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nobody cares about them except Ed Hammond.
That's the I-90 series when
Yeah.
That's right.
they play the Cardinals. But yep. All right. So some MLB news: the Cubs are in second place, 5.5 out of first at 65-49. They beat the Dodgers 5-1 last night. They will go for the sweep today at 120. All right.
So they've won the first two games, so they could. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I think it's good.
I do too.
The Cardinals at 56-58, 14.5 out of first, and 4 games out of the wild card. They got shut out 2-0 against the Yankees last night, but they can win the series tonight at 6:05 p.m. The Yankees are 64-50. They're 3.5 games behind the Rays. Rays are playing good baseball. White Sox at 59-53, 3 games up in the lead for first in the division. Lost last night 14-2 against the Red Sox. They can tie the 3-game series up tonight at 6:10 p.m. The Phillies at 61-53 in second, 7.5 games out of first. Shut out the Nationals yesterday 5-0. They will go for the series win tonight at 5:40 p.m. Game 3 of a 4-game set is today. NBA, or actually WNBA, Indiana Fever are 19-11, and they play tomorrow versus the Las Vegas Aces at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Chicago Sky 11-19 play tonight at 8 p.m. versus the Los Angeles Sparks. And NFL news: the Chicago Bears safety Kobe Bryant will be out 8 to 10 weeks. Bryant hyperextended his knee and sustained a bone bruise and a small fracture, but is not expected to need surgery to recover. And also in happier news for the Bears, tackle Darnell Wright signed a 4-year, $116 million extension, staying long-term with the Bears. So
116.
And that's the latest from the world
That's
of
the latest.
sports. You got it, Tyrus. Seems hard to be talking about football when we haven't even gotten to the end of the year, end of the season. And by the way, Kathy's granddaughter, am I right on that? Yes, it'll be granddaughter, playing for the Southeastern team in the World Series for women, girls between the ages, I believe, 15 and 17. We're down 2-1. It came back and wound up winning 4-3. So congratulations to Brianna and Boyle and the team from Irmo, South Carolina. Let's hear it. Yay!
let's hear it.
I want to ask the panel this morning, we certainly have time for it. I know you don't watch a lot of sport events. You don't watch the baseball games at all, but you can weigh in because we do need to hear from the female side of this, what I think is controversial. But we're seeing more of an infusion of women doing analysis of games in the major leagues. Now, this is an all guys, and women go to the games as well. Sometimes they fall asleep, and if you watch them, they're talking to anyone who will listen to them during the game and so forth. But I don't mind it so much with they're reading their cue cards in between innings and maybe a break in the action or whatever. But now they've gotten on the Marquee Network this young lady, very attractive young lady, interviewing players during the game. So they split the screen. Hey, I don't care what that player in the dugout is talking about. I want to hear about your analysis of what's happening on the field. Am I wrong?
Right. So your question is.
So,
it's,
you know, if you want to
is it
do it, like I
distracting?
say,
Yeah.
read your cue cards,
Right.
but don't interrupt
Oh,
the action
right,
of the
right.
play-by-play announcers in the booth, who I know are sitting there frustrated. Do we have to listen to this?
Yeah. So right, immediate feedback. Yeah. You don't need it. Yep. I agree.
Well, thanks.
Yep.
What do you think, Mr. Sports Guy?
Hmm.
Well, the hesitation says everything you need to say.
So at what point do we have too much analysis? Right?
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
That's,
yeah.
I
Right.
guess
Yeah.
that's my quick
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, because then sometimes they cut like, oh yeah, there's the fly ball in the left field. And
Sometimes they do it. Sometimes
And some
don't.
color
A guy
commentary.
hit
Actions happening,
in the Dodger game off the wall while this
they're talking
whatever
in the
the guy
dugout.
is talking to the player. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, hey, can you at least stop and let the play-by-play people do the play-by-play instead of asking him what he thought of his high school coach at Lamar Tech?
right.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
want to mute the sound and just watch the game. And
Yeah,
do the work.
well,
I actually
that's
have
what
done
I've
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how my dad always
Yeah,
watched the
I-
baseball game. He couldn't stand the commentators.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
You
guess
know-
the producers of the game are content with that. But here's what they don't realize, Marquis. There were three choices for watching baseball yesterday: the White Sox games, Cardinal games, and the Cub games. So you know, if you're going to screw up with your ideas, and it also shows that baseball is no longer a sport; it's entertainment. And that's what the producers, I think, are up to right now. Let's make this a show rather than a report of a baseball game.
Do you remember about, gosh, it's been now 7 or 8 years ago when they started the pitch count? Remember that? And the
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
was to make it more entertaining.
Yes.
And speedy, and actually, in some cases,
Make it faster.
Yeah. It's just so again, that's part of like let's change the game, and then of course now the statistics that are everywhere, exit velocity.
Oh, man, yeah, they give
there's-
more info. And
Yeah.
and I
You have to be a
saw
mathematician to watch a game now.
I saw one of the games, and I don't know which cable network it was. They were showing the odds of the players striking out.
Yeah.
And here's a sport that blackballed Pete Rose from entering the Hall of Fame because he gambled, and now the baseball big shots are giving you an opportunity to bet on pitch count, whether a guy's going to strike out or whatever.
You are actually.
Crazy.
You can bet on anything.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was watching a game last week, and I'm thinking, isn't that ironic that Pete Rose is banned for life, and yet there's a commercial for FanDuels and
Yeah,
DraftKings and everything. I'm like, wait a minute now.
That
Yeah.
just shows
Yeah.
how contradictory the so-called
I agree.
Yeah.
big shots are.
But the thing is you can't gamble when you're playing.
Well, true.
Or coaching.
True. Oh, I agree. It's just
What-
the idea of it. That,
Allegedly,
allegedly.
we don't know whether or not a manager says to his wife, "Go down and bet $200 on us losing today because I'm going to pitch Dave
So-and-so.
Bowles."
You'd be in
as a
trouble
starter,
then.
yeah, we know they'll hit
That would
Dave
be a
Bowles
bad-
around a
bad
little
bet.
bit. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
What
know.
are what are your thoughts? I know, even though you don't watch it, you know sports, you know baseball, you know basketball.
Male or female, I think that those interviews, if what's happening, is totally pointless and worthless. Don't interrupt,
Yeah.
as you say. And concentrate on the game. I don't want to hear about what somebody's thoughts are. Watch the game. And it could be a guy doing the same thing, and I would like, no, this is unnecessary.
Down on the field with Jim Hayes.
Yeah.
You know?
It's no.
Yeah.
Well, you don't mind in between the innings, and if the gals with their cue cards that they write before the start of the game will do it within maybe 20 to 30 seconds. But yesterday, this gal for the Cubs was going like the Chinese magician on too long. I mean, she went on and on and on with the interview on a split screen, And there were the play-by-play announcers sitting there, probably said, well, let's take a break and maybe we can start having lunch or whatever the case may be. So people who are really not in tune with sport interests, fan interests, in my opinion, are trying to make baseball more of an entertainment program rather than the typical. You know, I remember many years ago, I rode the board at WSIV, and they carried Cub games, and the Cubs radio announcer was one guy, and that was Bert Wilson back then. Bob Elson, one guy for the Chicago White Sox, and the Cardinals had Dizzy Dean, one guy, but I think there was somebody, I don't think his brother Paul was there, was somebody else was. And then over the years, they started adding color guys. Now, for the Cubs, I think the former Houston, Chicago Cub, he's very insightful. He knows the game and so forth. But, you know, when you have the national network covering a game like on a Saturday night or Sunday night, do you count like 4 people in the broadcast booth giving their opinions about the game? It's kind of, how would you like to sit next to a guy at Wrigley Field and he starts announcing maybe to his wife or to his son, now this guy's coming up, he's hitting 285, and I don't know, son, but he went to Lane Tech in Chicago. He had Teri Chamberlain as his teacher in geography, and his teacher, by the way, went on to have a great career in the WNBA. If they did that, you would
Get up and move.
You would get up and move, or you go get an usher and say, "Can you shut this chatterbox up?" And so what do? We do it on TV. And I always thought when the broadcasting on television, the idea was to make you feel you were at the game, not watching a performance on stage. Things have really changed.
You know,
yes.
There's a way on the TV that you can put it in like radio mode, but also watch it on TV.
You
so
know,
you can get the.
I didn't know that was true because I tried one time to. I muted the TV, turned the radio on, but because of the difference between sound waves of television and radio waves of radio stations, they're not in sync, and it doesn't work. But you say there is a system where
you can sync it up with the radio and have it watch the TV, and because my brother was doing it
really
the other day. He's like, yeah, I think I like this better than.
That's
than
interesting.
what's
I'll
going
try
on
that
the
because
TV.
typically, as I say, because of the difference in the timing of electronics, I'll give you a good example. I have somebody's going to weigh in and give us more information, but I have 2 TV sets, one in the bedroom and one in the living room, and there is a difference in time between the 2 sets. Have you noticed that?
When I had mine went upstairs and downstairs, yes, there was a time lag.
And it's only a matter of seconds, but there is a difference in timing. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's the one, the only. I'm never phony. Officer Friendly! Good morning. Good morning.
morning.
I know y'all wasn't. I know y'all wasn't
thanks for the wake
expecting
up.
that.
And
Yeah, I
for
had
the
it,
first
I had
day of
it.
school, are you in training, or have you prepared for the first day of school?
I was born ready, Uncle Roger.
I love that. Yeah.
We just finished 3 days of training. The 31st of last month was the first day we had to do CPI training. You guys probably familiar with that. That's crisis prevention intervention, more or less like, hey, come here, don't grab my hair. Well, I'm bald-headed, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
so
me
see,
too.
I passed that with flying colors. And then we did the Monday we did hands-on, like, redirecting, blah, blah, blah. Tuesday, pretty much same thing. The things we have on our utility belt, we just went over like a refresher course to make sure, hey, you know how to use this, right? Please make sure you know how to use this. God forbid you have to use it, but if you do, at least you're certified, so just in case something goes two-quarter, anything like that, we're prepared, and those type of feedback.
Yeah, but isn't it true that there is a period of adjustment. I mean, the kids have been doing what they want to do, and now they're all hyper about coming back to school. Isn't the first week a little bit on the hyperactivity level of the kids?
I think after all the years I've been doing this and being familiar with certain individuals and stuff like that, it can be. But also on the flip side of that, some kids are eager to get back to school because they want that structure. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's two sides to that coin, and I'm trying to be very optimistic, if I think that's the right term, man, Terry. After being like, I try to see things in the perspective as a positive instead of always, okay, here we go, get ready. I mean, of course we know that. We already know that there's those kids that just been running wild all summer, and now they get back and they still like, you be like, hey, bud, you got to dial it back, man. You're at an 8, I need you at a 2. So, yeah, I mean, of course.
No,
Of course, it's always that. That comes with the territory.
No, Ed, you got me wrong. I wasn't talking about the kids. I was talking about the teachers. About their hyperactivity.
I saw that in the building when I went to go get the teachers. I saw that in the building. I literally saw the teachers when I was going to go do the training and set my office up. They was just like, no. I'm like, oh no, you gotta. It's funny because they were doing a lesson yesterday, and we had to come and set our computers and things up. And they were in the cafeteria, all the teachers and all that. I walked right in, and I'm in plain clothes, so I'm not in the uniform. I said, hello, by the way, if you guys don't know me, I'm Officer Parker. I'll be the officer here this year. And then the principal was like, they know you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Well, I said, I just want to make sure they know who's going to be helping run the show around here. And then I made them laugh like I normally do. And then, all right, y'all have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your boring training. I walked out, and they was like, now they just shuck it up a little bit, shuck up the room. I mean, you know what? You can tell. You can feel the tension in the air. You can cut a knife with it. Yeah. Seriously. And it's always going to be there.
And the thing is that you love what you're doing, and not everybody gets to enjoy the job that they have, but you love reaching out to the kids. You love to be an influencer on their behavior and who they are and what they're there for. So God bless you for what you do.
Thanks, Uncle Roger. I appreciate that. And you make sure you say some extra prayers for me because I'm not as young as I used to be, dude.
Well, I've noticed that lately.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, I miss you guys. I love you guys. I just wanted to check in this morning and stuff. I don't remember exactly what y'all were talking about before I rudely interrupted y'all, but yeah, go Cubs.
Always glad to hear from you. Have a great day, my friend.
You too. God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
You too.
Ed Parker, God bless him. He's a super nice guy. He and his lovely bride, Emmett, and their family. Appreciate it. Hey, let's, since we're talking about the first day of school, we're into the news, so let's get into and our news this morning, as is the case every morning, brought to you by our friends at Morton Community Bank, a bank founded in 1960. Wow, have they ever grown over the years? It's grown so that today it has 50, count them, branch locations offering personal, business, and agricultural banking services with that well-known hometown feeling. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. And now with our news, here's Terry Chamberlain.
Another possible attempt on the life of President Trump was ended with the arrest of 38-year-old John Talley of Downey, California. Police and federal authorities said the man was grabbed while walking on the golf course at the Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes Sunday. Talley was taking pictures and shooting video when he was taken into custody. During a pat-down, police found a loaded magazine in his pants. A search of his car uncovered a loaded weapon and magazine. Last night, the president spoke at a Republican fundraising event at his golf club and then flew Air Force One to Las Vegas, where he'll speak tonight at the Red Rock Resort. He's on the campaign trail on behalf of Republican candidates who are on the midterm ballots in November. He's hoping the GOP will retain control of the House and Senate. There were primary races yesterday in 5 states: Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Washington, and Virginia. Much of the media focused on the Democrat race for U.S. Senate in Michigan between radical left-wing Abdullah El-Sayed and moderate Representative Haley Stevens. Senator Rand Paul says he'll refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress after a committee vote tomorrow morning. Paul, chairman of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee, wants Fauci investigated for failing to answer key questions regarding his alleged contradictory comments to Congress and disclosures in his diary. We'll talk about that referral with Peoria Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning. In local news, Tazewell County Coroner Charles Hanley reports the death of a 74-year-old man from Delavan who was found dead in McNaughton Park in rural Pekin. The coroner said the man was known as a long-distance runner and suggested the death was heart-related. He did not identify the victim. Peoria police did release the name of the woman who drove her car and 2 other vehicles and gas pumps at the Circle K station in the 2900 block of North Adams in North Peoria. 58-year-old Christina Gibson was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and driving under the influence. One of the cars she hit injured 2 people who went to the hospital. Gibson was later released. In a sports note, a French transgender basketball player is hoping that she will get the chance to play in this country's WNBA. Julie Tethart, a 34-year-old biological male, once known as Jimmy, dominated league play in Europe, averaging 21 points a game and 20 rebounds. No word on whether the WNBA is interested. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, how about a check of the weather brought to you by Kyle Varno, the Fortner Insurance. Kyle, you know, he knows insurance, and he certainly does, and he can provide you with competitive quotes for auto, homeowners, life, and health. Don't renew your insurance without first talking to Kyle. You can reach him today at 309-682-0519. He'll not only give you a great quote, he'll provide an up-to-date first-class weather forecast as well. But in the meantime, let's have Dave tell you what the weather is like.
In the meantime, you just get me.
Here's David.
Yeah. Mostly cloudy today with showers and thunderstorms, and some of those storms could produce some heavy rainfall this afternoon, some very beneficial rainfall, I might add. A high of 84 degrees, and then those showers continue tonight, a low of 68. Tomorrow will be partly sunny, not as warm, still some humidity, about a high of 80, and some chance for showers also lingering. And then we dry out a little bit for the weekend. Friday sunny and 84, Saturday sunny and high of 86, and currently with a humid 94% humidity, we're looking at 72 degrees.
94% humidity.
It's a little sticky out there. That means rain's coming, right? That's a good sign.
That's a good thing.
You know, I let my dog out on the leash late at night before I go to bed, and he lets me out as well. And I opened the door, and it was humid last night, sticky, muggy, whatever you want to call it. Not good. And when you have humidity at 94%, which is what it currently is, means it's another one of those summer days in the Midwest. I wanted to talk a little bit about the gal who was playing bumper cars with bumper cars in my old neighborhood. And interestingly, you know, we used to, years ago, joke about police hanging out in coffee shops and so forth. And it was true, they did. You know, why not? They have a right to stop, get a cup of coffee and so forth. You don't see it like you used to see it. And I don't know whether it's because they bring their own coffee, perhaps, in their vehicle, or they got tired of people saying, well, you see. But this incident, the arresting officer was inside the Circle K gas station, because, you know, today they don't just serve gas. They serve stuff to take care of gas, and also soda pop and chips and sandwiches and so forth. So he was there when this gal came into the facility at a high rate of speed and bounced off of some cars and so forth. So it made for a relatively easier, and I say relatively because she resisted arrest, apprehension of the driver who has been charged with under the influence. Interestingly, at the end of the story, is that she was booked at the county jail and then what? Released, yeah. Now, so then that raises the question, did they wait until she was recovering from the alleged driving under the influence? And now, boys and girls, make a comparison between that incident and the incident at the Paramarquette Hotel that we covered. Interesting dynamics between the two situations. And we don't, I don't know whether Dr. Sidler is awake in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, to ask him this question, so I'm not going to call him. If I know Dr. Sidler, he's sawing logs in the national park. But we've seen it in movies, particularly with the Andy Griffith Show, which is, of course, very scientific and factual in thought and programming and so forth. Is it true that when somebody's under the influence and they give them coffee, that they, I won't say quickly, but gradually recover from the alcohol, or do they have to sleep it off?
I don't know.
I don't know. I've
The
always
movies,
No.
this is in the movies. Listen, here, you need some coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
I love watching a scene where they're really drunk and all of a sudden they're drinking
Yeah,
coffee and they're suddenly fine.
It's
a Christmas miracle.
Well, that's what they, that's what they did with Barney. He had unknowingly drank some of Otis's alcohol,
Oh, yeah.
and Barney said, "We got to get you home and get some coffee in you and so forth." And suddenly they're alive and well for that matter. Well, we'll find out as we have a caller in line one, and that's all we have is line one. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yeah, what was the question you were just asking? And
Well, well, it's Dr. Sidler. He's been up all night walking the baby.
yeah, we're now waiting for you to come on the air. That's, what
Okay,
we do
well,
down here.
good. You can't knock that. The question is, how long does it take? And if you give an alcoholic, someone who is drunk, coffee, how quickly does that
Sober them
cause
up.
the intoxication to end?
Well, it doesn't speed up the removal of the alcohol from the body or the system. It is basically just a stimulant. You know, the caffeine in coffee will counter some of the sedative effects of the alcohol. So in that sense, it can kind of stimulate the brain and the nervous system to make somebody who is drunk maybe a little bit more alert. Brain functions a little bit more actively. But it really doesn't speed up the metabolism of the alcohol and the removal of the alcohol from the system. That's still going to take time. So it's kind of a myth that, forcing an alcohol impaired person to drink coffee is going to suddenly make them normal again. It's not going to work that quick.
Well, here's my question then, Dr. Sidler. And that is, they arrested this woman on charges of, A, resisting arrest and then driving under the influence. So she was taken to the jail and charges were booked, as they say, and then she was released. So the question becomes, what was that period of time? And when she was released, was she now sober?
Well, again, I don't have all the knowledge about that. I'm sure that it probably took a couple of hours' time for all of that to transpire, and that could have given the young woman a bit of time to get a bit more sober. But it takes a long time for somebody who's truly drunk for that amount of alcohol to get out of the system. My guess is that she still had some effect from that alcohol when they released her and let her go, but it just depends on how many hours took place after that. Probably had somebody come to pick her up because they wouldn't let her drive home.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that maybe they said, we'll arrange to get you home, make a phone call to your boyfriend, husband, son, daughter, whatever the case may be. I do know this, that Andy Taylor would not let Otis out of the jail for 24 hours. He had to sleep it off. So I thought that was a pretty good policy. Now, whether Chris Watkins and the people at the county jail follow the procedure and the protocol and the methodology set up by Andy Griffith, I don't know. But they did say that she was released. Hey, on another subject, are we done with the lettuce problem at Taco Bell, or are you following that? And are you a customer of Taco Bell?
I do like Taco Bell once in a while, but and I don't think we've had too much of the problem here in the Central Illinois area. They probably get their lettuce from producers and suppliers a little bit more Midwestern, and not from the California and Mexican company that was supposedly linked to this outbreak. But no, it's still happening in some parts of the country. I think there's over 5,000, maybe even over 6,000 cases now reported, and the severity of the cases varies quite a bit. So that I'm sure there's many people who had moderate or milder forms of the effects of that infection and probably didn't get reported. So it's probably affected maybe even tens of thousands of people. It's likely dying down a little bit, but I think it's still happening.
Yeah. What is it that develops in your body when you eat? And I guess it depends on the bacteria. When you eat food that is outdated or whatever. And by the way, we've also talked about the fact that many products will have the statement "best if used by such and such a date." But I think you've said in the past that is just kind of a guideline. That sometimes, particularly eggs, I worry about eggs, but you indicated that the shelf life of eggs is much greater than what you might think.
Yeah, very much so. If in the case of eggs, if you refrigerate them, they can stay perfectly good for 3 months and sometimes even longer. But yeah, it is required on food products to place a sell-by or a best-by date on the package. Sometimes it's very hard to find. You have to really scrutinize the package to find it, or the bottle, or whatever. And yes, that's just based on some studies that were done to show, when degradation of the product or other changes begin to occur that could be harmful. And there's a host of reasons why that happens. Sometimes it's just the breakdown of the products that are in the food, and sometimes it is bacterial contamination, and there's many types of bacteria that are not so friendly to our GI system or to our body in general that can cause serious problems. This cyclosporosis outbreak, that's just one example of a very unusual organism that has come into the news lately, one that we haven't heard much about, but there's many others. Most of the bacteria that cause food contamination and food poisoning, as we call it, are just staph and strep germs, the very common germs that we're familiar with that cause a lot of other diseases and which inhabit most of the things we touch and our body surfaces and other things.
This week, namely on Monday, Colonel Ballard brought in some delicious treats and cookies just out of this world. Never tasted. I think you agree, Terry. Have you had a cookie like that before?
No, they're very good.
And one of the ingredients, the major ingredients, was cream cheese. Now, I'll bring this up because Terry's already had two, and I've had part of one. And that's from Monday, and it has a cream cheese. That's right, Dave. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, behind me.
Yeah. But at any rate, did we take a risk eating cream cheese because it was not the cookies have not been refrigerated, and I'm a little concerned. What are your thoughts? Are we okay?
Yeah, I think you're okay.
Thank you. How about the cookies?
We were relieved. We thought Tyrus and I would have to carry on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a dairy product, and you put dairy products in a lot of foods and bakery products that you bake, and when you cook them, it changes the nature of the proteins and the carbohydrates that are in milk and milk products that make them much more stable for the most part. So that isn't going to be a problem if they're cooked right. Yeah.
So we're okay. All right, because
You are.
Okay, thank you. I think you're okay too. Okay. All right. Anything else you add to the good of the program this morning, Dr. Gene Sidler?
No, I don't have a whole lot more to add. Just heard you talking about something and mentioned my name, so I thought, well,
You better.
program's dragging a little bit. I should call it.
That's an understatement, but that's, we do have a tendency to drag. Are you about to finish, ready to come home? I mean, how much more can you see in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, unless you want to go with the tourist trap in Pigeon Forge?
No, we stay away from all of the Pigeon Forge tourist traps and artificial entertainment venues they have there. I mean, it's literally everything you drive past on the strip in Pigeon Forge. No, we're down in the mountains, and it's beautiful. And personally, I could spend even a lot more time down here. It's just beautiful. But I can see where I talked to the owner of the cabin, and he said most people stay just 3 or 4 or 5 days, and we're here for almost 2 weeks.
Wow.
And he was surprised by that. But yeah, most people just come and visit a couple of days or so, a few days, and then go back
And
home.
then move on.
But there's so much to see. The park is enormous. There's many side roads that and trails. People come here to do hiking, and there's trails that go everywhere up and down the mountains, and a lot of people do that. As you drive through the main roads, you'll see areas where the trails begin that are just loaded with cars that are parked in all the parking spots that they created for the trailheads. It's a very popular park, and it's just beautiful. Every part of it is a little bit different, but I can see where somebody might drive through it and say, it looks all the same.
Yeah.
Forests
A
and
tree
creeks
is a tree.
well, in a way, yeah, but it's like I say, it is quite unique.
Yeah, I found when we drove through that if you get off the beaten path, you can see some unique stores and businesses that are just basically a hole in the wall, but still kind of picturesque and reminders of the kind of environment that you're in, which is a little on the woodsy side, I would say.
Yeah, and maybe I can talk about more when I get back. We had lunch yesterday. On the southern end of the park is actually a Cherokee reservation, and there's a little town named Cherokee, North Carolina, and we had lunch there at a Cherokee-owned restaurant. It was interesting because there were a number of items on the menu that I was completely unfamiliar with, almost like being in a foreign country, because they are the indigenous people's recipes of various things. So that was interesting.
Are you one to experiment and say, hey, listen, you order that and I'll order this, and we'll see who made the best choice?
Well, yes and no. I will order something that I'm sure I'm going to like, but maybe order a little something unusual as a side dish or
Yes.
in a different way so you can try that. I had a hamburger there, but I had it on, instead of a bun, I had it on something called fry bread, which is I don't know if you ever heard of fry
Never
bread.
heard of it. Never heard of it.
I had heard of it, but it's an Indian type of bread that is fried rather than baked, and kind of different tasting. But
Well, was it good?
not bad.
Was it good? If you had it
was
to do
good.
over again, would you order it?
Sure. It was
Okay,
good.
all right.
It was very filling. So by the time it was a large hamburger, so by the time I was halfway done with it, I think I switched over and just was eating the
Burger.
meat because
Yeah.
it was so filling. I was getting too full from it.
Okay, you might want to try Gas X today. At any rate,
There you
At any
go.
rate,
There's our commercial break.
yeah, there you are. At any rate, thanks, Dr. Gene Sidler. Sounds like you're having a good time.
Yeah, we're debating whether we're going to come back at all now. So
Well, we hope you lose that debate and you come back. At any rate, have a great
no,
day.
just kidding. Be
Always-
back
always-
next week.
All right. Always great talking to you. Keep up the
Have a great
enjoyment.
day,
You
everybody.
bet.
Bye-bye.
Dr. Gene Sidler. And we have 72 degrees. The high today, what, Dave?
High today is looking at 84 degrees.
84 degrees. Hey, you know, it got warmer yesterday, I think, than
yes,
what
it did.
do you agree?
Yes,
I
I
couldn't
do.
believe it, because I was going to do some trimming of bushes, and
That's
I
exactly
went
what I was
outside and I said, hey, this isn't the right weather to be
Yeah.
doing this in, so
was,
skip that.
hauling some logs and some brush on a trailer, and I'm like, ooh, it's warm.
Yeah, it did get warm. How about our pet tip of the day?
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. Good Morning America recently aired a very touching story about Elmo, the family dog being saved after suffering smoke inhalation in a house fire. He was found completely lifeless on the floor of the bathroom. Elmo is a 60-pound boxer and considered the third child of the family. His owners were out running errands when their home became an inferno. Thankfully, technology has finally created an inexpensive resuscitation unit for our pets. When Elmo's owners came home to find the firefighters working on Elmo, giving him the pure oxygen he needed and monitoring his heart, because these first responders were properly equipped and trained, Elmo survived and only has a limp back leg to show for his ordeal. It is fairly new concept to have animal resuscitation equipment designed specifically for dogs and cats. The oxygen masks are designed to securely fit over the snouts of large dogs or over the entire heads of small dogs and cats in order to better administer pure oxygen when they've suffered severe smoke inhalation. Today, there is no reason for a fire department to not have at least one of these resuscitators on each truck. I urge you to check with your local fire department, and if they don't already have one, buy them one. You never know whose life you can save by this simple gesture. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Thank you, Louis Linder. Always great to hear from Louis with the pet tip of the day. Stand by. We have news, weather, sports coming up, and in the next hour, we'll talk to Peoria defense attorney Kevin Sullivan, so stay tuned for that. You're listening to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube at Roger and Friends LS. Thanks for being a part of our program today. Don't go away. Don't go away. Please don't go away. And good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, August 5th, and we begin with a check of the weather. Brought to you as a public service of Advanced Medical Transport of Central Illinois, a part of the region's healthcare network, staffed by a team of paramedics and emergency medical technicians, wonderful men and women, quickly on the scene, rendering the best in emergency medicine. They also provide transportation from the hospital to the home safely. and professionally with the AMT Personal Touch. And we have a personal touch with the weather and Dave Poles. Dave, what do you have?
We do. Our Wednesday is looking to be mostly cloudy today as you get your start to work and school. And by the way, happy first day of school for our PPS 150 school kids. So again, you might want to grab an umbrella on your way in as you celebrate that first day of the school year. Some showers and thunderstorms looking our way, and some of those storms could produce heavy rainfall by afternoon, a high of 84 degrees, and those showers are continuing tonight, getting down to a low of 68 with some much beneficial rain coming our way. Tomorrow, partly sunny and not as warm, a high of 80, but then those chances for showers also continue tomorrow. And then we look at Friday at dawn, sunny and 84 degrees. So nice looking day Friday, and then Saturday sunny, a high of 86 as that warmth and dry weather creeps in. Currently, we're looking at 72 degrees, but it's humid out there, folks. Humidity running around 94%, so a little sticky, but that rain is on the way. So let's have a great Wednesday.
You got it. And now the news brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Now listing a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in the city, but with an unbelievable view of the countryside from a gorgeous living room. This home has a beautiful kitchen with adjoining dining room plus other wonderful amenities. Get the exciting details from Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart at 309-696-2162. Now with our lead story, here's Terry Chamberlain.
But before I start into that, Kevin Sullivan weighed in on the alcohol question. He says, on the average, a person metabolizes alcohol at the rate of, now keep 0.015% per hour. So if a person is at 0.15%, which is nearly twice the legal limit to drive, it would take about 10 hours to get the alcohol out of his or her system.
See, so that raised, and we'll talk with Kevin because he'll be here shortly for more information. So I'm back to my original question. This woman was released. Was she sober?
Of course, they would not put her back out.
Well, I don't think so either. But do they do a blood test to see where they are in terms of, or a breathalyzer and say, here, blow into this and. And from the sound of things, she resisted arrest, and she might have said, I'll tell you what you can do with that breathalyzer.
She probably did.
Thing. But maybe she, after she had an opportunity to calm down, that she changed personalities. You know, alcohol has a tendency to create some monsters.
Yes, it does. But I'd also be willing to bet that they did not let her drive home. That they,
I'm sure not.
That she would have been released into somebody's custody.
Yeah, otherwise she'd play bumper pool with the cars in the parking lot of the jail there off of...
That's right, off Maxwell Road.
Yeah.
Into the news. Another possible attempt on the life of President Trump was ended with the arrest of 38-year-old John Talley of Downey, California. Police and federal authorities said the man was grabbed while walking on the golf course at the Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes on Sunday. Talley was taking pictures and shooting video when he was taken into custody. During a pat-down, police found a loaded magazine in his pants, and a search of his car uncovered a loaded weapon and magazine.
And not the kind you read either, right?
No.
All right. Last night, the president spoke at a Republican fundraising event at his golf club and then flew Air Force One to Las Vegas, where he'll speak tonight at the Red Rock Resort. He's on the campaign trail on behalf of Republican candidates who are on the midterm ballots in November, hoping that the GOP will retain control of the House and the Senate.
There were primary races yesterday in 5 states: Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Washington, and Virginia. Much of the media focused on the Democrat race for U.S. Senate in Michigan between radical left-wing Abdul El-Sayed and moderate Representative Haley Stevens. El-Sayed is leading, and in Missouri, radical leftist Wesley Bell easily defeated Cori Bush for the Democratic nomination for the House of Representatives. Voters also rejected a measure to eliminate the state income tax. 8 states have no such tax, such as Florida, Texas, and Tennessee.
Senator Rand Paul says he'll refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress after a committee vote tomorrow morning. Paul, chairman of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee, wants Fauci investigated for failing to answer key questions regarding his alleged contradictory comments to Congress and disclosures in his diary.
That planned massive bombing attack on Iran remains on hold. President Trump says he's hopeful of reaching some kind of peace agreement with Iran, but Iranian officials say there are no scheduled talks on the table. Reportedly, military officials want to proceed and get on with it.
Meanwhile, Ukraine President Zelensky says his flight of drones in July inflicted massive casualties on Russian forces. He said more than 30,000 Russian soldiers were killed or injured. President Putin has recruited troops from Africa, Asia, and Latin America to help replace fallen Russian soldiers.
In local news, Tazewell County Coroner Charles Hanley reports the death of a 74-year-old man from Delavan who was found dead in McDonough Park in rural Pekin. The coroner said the man was known as a long-distance runner and suggested the death was heart-related. He did not identify the victim.
Peoria Police did release the name of a woman who drove her car into other vehicles and gas pumps at the Circle K station in the 2900 block of North Adams in North Peoria. 58-year-old Christina Gibson was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and driving under the influence. One of the cars she hit injured 2 people who went to the hospital. Gibson was later released.
In a sports note, a French transgender basketball player is hoping that she will get the chance to play in this country's WNBA. Julie Tethart, a 34-year-old biological male, once known as Jimmy, dominated league play in Europe, averaging 21 points a game and 20 rebounds. No word on whether the WNBA is interested. And that's the news.
And that's the news. And we have more news from WCBU. And this portion of our program today brought to you by Steve Sink of PHX Affiliates, the largest downstate Illinois brokerage firm headquartered right here in Peoria. And Steve specializes in business mergers and acquisitions. He can help you buy a business, sell a business. He's all business. And you can reach Steve today at 696-8508. Now we turn to WCBU with the latest.
CBU Newsroom, I'm Rich Drager. 2 of 6 requested commercial building and property improvement grants in Washington are now off the table. One of the requests the Washington City Council turned down was $45,000 for the Cherry Tree Shopping Center. Cherry Tree already received $50,000 last year. That convinced alderperson Brandon Moss to vote no.
Simply because I think it shouldn't be used as a repetitive maintenance fund. And especially for a center that, while thriving might not be the right word, seems to be healthy at least.
Approved grant requests go to Associated Veterinary Clinic, Myers Tinting, Washington Plaza, and BLC Properties. Bo Sutherland is the new full-time general manager of the Peoria Civic Center. Sutherland has served as the venue's interim GM since June 1st when Rick Edgar left the position. He's been with the Downtown Entertainment and Convention Hub for 26 years as one of its longest tenured employees. During his time at the Civic Center, Sutherland helped secure the naming rights deal for the Prairie Home Alliance Theater. As GM, he will now oversee all operations of the arena, convention center, and theater. Parents starting on back-to-school shopping will get a temporary sales tax break for 10 days this month. From Friday, August 7th through August 16th, the state's sales tax on school supplies will be reduced 5%. Capital News Illinois reports items with a lower sales tax will include traditional supplies such as markers and pencils, notebooks, folders, and other classroom items, as well as many clothing purchases. An Americana duo with Central Illinois roots returns on the heels of a trip to the Great American State Fair. Stone and Snow's Karen Bridges and Clint Thompson say they applied on a lark, never expecting to get in. Thompson says despite the event's political leanings, they said yes and played protest songs on the National Endowment for the Arts Legacy stage.
Yeah, we get it, plenty of reasons to stay away and not participate and just make fun of it, but also the 250th is something we should all get to celebrate, we should all be proud of.
Stone and Snow play a free show Friday at Poor Brothers Tap Room in Peoria Heights. I'm Rich Drager.
All right, Rich, good to hear from you, Drager, big broadcast veteran. So let's hear from the rookie, and he's here with the and that's Tyrus Killing. Tyrus, let's start with the Peoria.
Yes, we'll start with the Chiefs.
All right.
Thank you, Roger. We'll go on to the Chiefs here. The Peoria Chiefs are at 51-51. They play today against the Quad City River Bandits, affiliate with the Kansas City Royals. They play at 6:35 p.m. today. It's a home series. They have 5 games left, and you can bring your dog to the ballpark these next couple of games. MLB news: the Cubs are in second place, 5.5 out of first, 65-49. They beat the Dodgers 5-1 last night. They will go for the sweep today at 1:20 p.m. The Cardinals at 56-58, 14.5 out of first, and 4 games out of the wild card spot. They got shut out 2-0 against the Yankees last night, but can win the series tonight at 6:05 p.m. The Yankees at 64-50, 3.5 games behind the Rays. The White Sox at 59-53, 3 games up in the lead for the division. Lost last night 14-2 against the Red Sox. They can tie the 3-game series up tonight at 6:10 p.m. The Phillies at 61-53 in second, 7.5 games out of first. They shut out the Nationals yesterday 5-0. They will go for the series win tonight at 5:40 p.m. Game 3 of a 4-game set. In the WNBA, the Indiana Fever are 19-11. They play tomorrow versus the Las Vegas Aces at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Chicago Sky at 11-19 play tonight at 8 p.m. versus the Los Angeles Sparks. So they've kind of won a couple in a row there. So, hey, I don't know. Maybe they'll keep winning. Who knows? NFL news: the Chicago Bears safety Kobe Bryant will be out 8 to 10 weeks. Bryant hyperextended his knee and sustained a bone bruise and a small fracture, but is not expected to need surgery to recover. In happier news for the Bears, tackle Darnell Wright signed a 4-year, $116 million extension to stay long-term with the Bears. He was an all-pro tackle last year. And that's our sports.
That's sports with Tyrus Killiam, everybody. All right, hour number 2 of Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU. It's a Wednesday morning, the 5th day of August. And we have a guy that knows about education. He's here every Wednesday morning. That's Dave Poles. He is a longtime educator, currently working for, I always worry about the exact title. I'm going to call it the Peoria County Office of Regional Education.
Peoria County Regional Office of Education, number 48. So there are
48 regional offices.
Yes, it's like a kind of like, imagine like a legislative district. We're Peoria County, and then there's other ROEs across the state that are just different. Like there's 53 in Tazewell County and so forth and so on. So
yeah. Now the school starts in District 150. That's part of your regional office. Is there anything that you do that you haven't done during the summer in preparation for the return of the children's?
Well, so remember, the regional offices, we're a service organization to school districts. We're a liaison between really the state board. We not only do regulation and licensing, but we also service programming, support staff with social emotional needs. We've got just a huge undertaking. But hey, we're here to support educators and the students they serve.
Yeah. How many schools are that you serve? I guess.
So we serve every school in Peoria County. So
only Peoria County.
Right,
so,
right. We're Peoria County ROE.
Now, are we talking about 10 schools?
No,
34 schools?
No, we serve every. So if you were to go west, Farmington, for instance, is the farthest west school. As you know, they kind of straddle the
Fulton
County and Peoria County. But,
just like they do on Richwoods Boulevard for City of Peoria schools, and
we serve
Limestone, is it?
Yeah, Limestone.
We go all the way north to Chillicothe, Princeville. We actually stop. So if you ever need a ride on a Wednesday, just hop on in, okay?
Yeah.
And of course, anywhere in Peoria County, both middle school, primary schools, and high schools, and the clientele they serve.
Now, when you say you serve, what do you mean serve? What do you do?
So, for instance,
how do you help the schools?
I'll use my position as an example. I as you know, with John Meisinger and Dave Overfell, we do compliance, which means we simply come in and we just audit the schools and just see, this is what you have. Here's the files you have. Maybe you could do this. Maybe you could do that, and just checking to see that they are fulfilling their responsibilities.
They're in compliance.
In compliance.
Yeah.
We're from the government, and we're here to help. So,
Usually when
so,
you have
yeah,
a knock
yeah,
on the door,
yeah, exactly.
they say, you're
But we're more than, we're not like an IRS auditor. We're more or less
You're here
just
to
simply
collect
to help them and tell them what they could do. And then, of course, if there's like a licensing issue, perhaps with the teacher, we help them with our office, get that taken care of. I also, so we also do an adult literacy program, and one of my projects is special projects. For instance, the spring celebration, as you know, recognition, our Lincoln Dinner, where we recognize outstanding high school seniors across
the
Peoria
Lincoln
County.
Dinner, I've heard of the Jefferson dinner.
Yeah,
but
no, the Abraham, and basically it's selecting a student, a senior who represents the ideals of Abraham Lincoln, and we do that in February. There's also a few things. We do a teen summit in January, which more or less addresses issues that students may be having and gives them sort of some direction. There's other programs in the community coming up, so we do a lot of things to help educators.
Yeah, and now, as I understand it, you're in the new building on Sheridan Road.
We are. We are the HHS building, Health and Human Services building. It's the old health department. They tore it down and they built a really nice structure there. And so our office moved from the courthouse to the HHS building, along with health department, the coroner's office, a couple other county offices too.
Do you work closely with the administration of District 150? We have a new superintendent,
do.
Dr. Bell,
We do.
and I assume at one time or another you or John or
yep,
somebody
yep.
Sat down with the new superintendent and
We've
talked
actually,
about
yep.
his philosophy of education.
Yeah,
and
again,
et cetera.
we've talked with them over the summer, and we're certainly there to help. And as Peoria Public starts their year, we definitely are so excited. I know Anchored in Excellence is their motto, and that truly, truly is new. I mean, again, Dr. Bell and Dr. Andrews, both the superintendent and the deputy superintendent, are tasked with leading these students, and there's some really good things happening in Peoria Public. So again, some people are probably out there wondering, why so early? School starting already? Well, remember, they're on a balanced calendar, so today's our first day. Now in October, they'll have a 2-week break, and then 2 week at the Christmas break, and then of course 2 weeks next spring. So
Are there any criteria that people like you use to measure whether or not this new calendar is achieving what it's supposed to achieve?
So yeah, this is, I think, year 4, perhaps, maybe 5. The year after I retired in 22, they started the next year, so that would have been the school year 22-23. So 4 years into it now. I tell you what, every single person I've talked to likes it, and here's why: student achievement,
including
students. Yes, you know, you're always going to find a few outliers, but I just had a conversation with both a principal and an educator who didn't even know each other, and both of them really liked it because, again, by August your mind's kind of turning to school anyway, and so I've talked to some of them, sort of that 2-week break in October. If you have the ability to go somewhere, that's great. But there's also enrichment opportunities too. Some schools, if a student wants to kind of catch up a little bit, there are extra opportunities for a teacher to work that week. So there seems to be some good benefits from what I've heard.
Yeah, from my perspective, I can understand maybe a week, but 2 weeks to me seems a little bit longer than it needs to be because of the ongoing challenge of resetting.
I agree, and really true. Remember, they're just basically exchanging the 2 weeks now for the 2 weeks in October.
Yeah,
so that it just shifts the calendar. The school year's not any longer. It's just, as they say, balanced, I guess is the word they use. So it does. The idea is, of course, to capture that student regression of learning that supposedly happens. I don't know if that happens, but
I psychologically I have a lot of problems at my age, but the idea, when I look back, when we went to school, Terry, that we returned to school a few days before Labor Day, and then we were off. And I remember people used to complain, why don't you just start school after Labor Day instead of going to a couple of days? But here we are, August 5th. We got the whole month of August to go to school, and I believe that probably is more expensive because you have to pour more antifreeze into the air conditioner.
That's true.
And
all the buildings
are air conditioned now. And you look back when I went to school, the air conditioner was raise the window.
I remember when I was teaching, one of my classrooms on the 3rd floor of Peoria High, and a lot of times I'd like to hand my paper in, Mr. Poles, but it's stuck to my arm because I'm sweating so much.
Yeah,
so, you know, the dog didn't eat my homework, my arm did. So, but yeah, that's one thing. Now, going back to your question, there are some states, like for instance, Wisconsin, across the state, it's legislated that you start school after Labor Day and you end before Memorial Day.
Interesting.
So again, I think they gain the time from shrinking some of those time off in between the year. Now, you wouldn't have a 2-week break, or maybe your Christmas breaks are a little shorter, but they managed to get it done.
Yeah. Well, to each his own, I guess. But it would be interesting to have a summit or a conference with the two systems, and maybe there's 3 or 4 systems. What works best? Are you happy with what you're doing?
Right.
And I'm sure you'll get a pocket of people, oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And a pocket of people that says, I hate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in August, I usually go to Canada with my family, or I go to Disney World or whatever.
Yeah.
Now I have to do it in July, the hottest month of the year.
And that is one that I've heard from one family, and that is the other side of it. They play a lot of baseball and softball, so the seasons are winding down in July. There's no time for a vacation, so and it's hard. Not everybody can get off in October. It's not summer anymore. So, although around here it's still be warm.
The other argument I heard is that wreaks havoc with families scheduling babysitters and work hours and so forth, that increase problems for them. I haven't heard that lately, but when they were talking about making this change, that's what you heard from parents.
Well, I know, like
you're making us change our schedule.
Yeah, I know, like for instance, organizations like the YMCA, they have programming during those 2 weeks, so technically, a kid can go there. There's, I don't know if it's daycare, but activities, things like that. And again, if you say, hey, listen, my kid's got to do some enrichment in school, there are opportunities for that kid to go to school during that 1 week off. So. Yeah.
What schedule do you like? You're in Princeville, and have they started school in Princeville, or do you know? Or more importantly, do you care? You're out of school.
Yeah, I don't think they have yet.
I like they have.
Not quite yet.
Yeah,
but
they usually smaller schools, towns. They march to a different drum beat, and they're more traditional.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're happy being more traditional.
Sure. Well, you got to get that corn crop in detasseled, right?
Yeah.
Well, and they've been busy, and the corn's been busy sweating, according to Kyle Barnode.
Yeah.
Sweating.
Yeah, corn sweating.
Corn ready, oh boy. Oh.
Yeah, that's why it's so humid.
Yeah, you're right. Are we still at 72 degrees? And
we are. Our research department is on it right now.
We're supposed to get some showers and thunderstorms.
We are
today.
at 72 degrees.
72.
So
the high today, 84. We'll be right back after this message.
Every 2 seconds, somebody in America needs blood. You can help by donating blood at your local American Red Cross. Donating blood is easy. It only takes about an hour, and a single donation can help save more than one life. This is Alex O'Loughlin asking you to donate blood to help somebody in need. A friend, a neighbor, or somebody you haven't even met. Call your American Red Cross at 1-800-GIVE-LIFE or visit them at givelife.org. The need is constant. The gratification is instant. Give blood.
Think about everything that you save. You save gas, you save money, you save time. But have you ever thought about saving life? That's right, life. In just 1 hour, you could save up to 3 lives, giving 3 people more time with the ones they love. And isn't that the best thing to save? The need for blood is as universal as it is constant. Save life, give blood.
And how true that is. Support your local Red Cross chapter. I want to spend a couple of minutes on the loss of life of that 74-year-old man from Delavan who apparently, according to the information from the Tazewell County coroner, Charles Hanley, was a long-distance runner. And you see people running all the time by themselves. There was a time when we were on WAM, and I lived in Wardcliff, and I would see a small group, 3 or 4, maybe 5 runners from Landmark, and that was usually Sheriff Mike McCoy, and also his close buddy, who was superintendent at Elmwood, Tommy Kahn. Thank you. Running. How can I forget Tommy Kahn? Well, I haven't forgotten, but at any rate, but they ran as a group, and but you see people all by themselves, and to me, that's a little bit like going fishing by yourself.
Yeah.
And we've had countless incidents where individuals have been fishing and fall out of their boat and needed rescuing, but there's no one there to help. And I've heard stories also of two people fishing together and died, drowning as a result. And I think about this poor soul, apparently from Delavan, drove to the McDonough Park. I've been past that numerous times, and you'd see a car parked somewhere near there, and you think this individual died by himself with no one available to render aid, and being a long-distance runner, probably thought he was invincible and had no problems. But you remember the great runner who was advised to get a stress test as part of his health assessment, and he ignored it. I believe his name was Jim Fix.
Jim Fix, yeah.
And died of a heart attack during a run. And I just feel so bad for this guy from Delavan that, and it might have been sudden, who knows what happened, but it did bother me when I read about him, and they did have first responders on the scene making every effort to resuscitate him. I've heard stories of guys on treadmills who have had fatal heart attacks.
Yeah.
And people who are doing nothing but going to bed at night or getting up early in the morning or whatever the case may be. And the old saying, well, when your number's up, your number's up.
That's right.
Right.
It's your time to go.
Yeah. And I have done all kinds of things, research to find out what my number is. And right now it's 92. I don't know about the three of you for that matter. At any rate, this day is going to be a day filled with showers and thunderstorms, so take along your umbrella. And coming up shortly, we're going to talk to, as usual, on a Wednesday morning, our attorney, Kevin Sullivan. Let's get you caught up with the news, brought to you by Bob Manning, Senior Vice President, Financial Advisor. Bob is with the Grandview Capital Group, great organization at Morgan Stanley in downtown Peoria. They're located in the One Technology Building, a great building. It's gorgeous, beautifully decorated. For all your investment needs, call Bob Manning at 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC. And here's Terry.
Another possible attempt on the life of President Trump was ended with the arrest of 38-year-old John Talley of Downey, California. Police and federal authorities said the man was grabbed while walking on the golf course at the Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes on Sunday. Talley was taking pictures and shooting video when he was taken into custody. During a pat-down, police found a loaded magazine in his pants, and a search of his car uncovered a loaded weapon and magazine, and it was not Golf Digest.
Yeah.
Well done.
That was well done, yeah.
Last night, the president spoke at a Republican fundraising event at his golf club, and then flew Air Force One to Las Vegas, where he'll speak tonight at the Red Rock Resort. He's on the campaign trail on behalf of Republican candidates who are on the midterm ballots in November. He's hoping the GOP will retain control of the House and Senate. There were primary races yesterday in 5 states: Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Washington, and Virginia. Much of the media focused on the Democrat race for U.S. Senate in Michigan between radical left-wing Abdul El Sayed and moderate Representative Haley Stevens. Senator Rand Paul says he'll refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress after a committee vote tomorrow morning. Paul, chairman of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee, wants Fauci investigated for failing to answer key questions regarding his alleged contradictory comments to Congress and disclosures in his diary. And we're going to talk about that referral with Peoria Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan as soon as I finish the news. I think he's on hold waiting for us, is he not?
He is on hold.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
In local news, Tazewell County Coroner Charles Hanley reports the death of a 70-year-old man from Delavan who was found dead in McDonough Park in rural Pekin. The coroner said the man was known as a long-distance runner and suggested the death was heart-related, but did not identify the victim. Peoria Police did release the name of the woman who drove her car into other vehicles and gas pumps at the Circle K station in the 2900 block of North Adams in North Peoria. 58-year-old Christina Gibson was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and driving under the influence. One of the cars she hit injured 2 people who went to the hospital. Gibson was later released. And those are the headlines, Roger.
Right. Good job. And now a check of the weather. Dave, what do you have in the way of weather for
We
our
have
listeners?
today a mostly cloudy day, looking at showers and thunderstorms coming along, and some of those storms could produce some heavy rainfall later this afternoon. High of 84 degrees, so those showers will be continuing tonight. The rain, maybe a little heavier, beneficial rain into the evening, a low of 68 degrees. Tomorrow looks partly sunny and not as warm, a high of 80 degrees, and chance for some showers continuing tomorrow. And then Friday looks sunny and 84. Saturday's sunny and a high of 86, so a nice dry weekend after we get this rain in through here. And we're looking at 72 degrees with a high humidity count out there in advance of our rain, 94%. So have a great first day of school, everybody.
Yeah, so welcome to my world, as somebody once said. Anyway, Kevin Sullivan's on the line. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Roger.
Hey, clarify again, how long does it take to dry out, as they will say in the common language, for an alcoholic or somebody's had too much to drink?
Well, on the average, okay, now it may be that if somebody is a real, tried and tested alcoholic who's been at it for years, they may metabolize it a little bit faster or slower than the average. But the average person, male or female, alcohol metabolizes at the rate of 0.0015% per hour. So, as the example I sent to Terry a little while ago, if you're behind the wheel, let's say, of a car, and you are 0.15, keep in mind 0.08 is the legal limit. And you can actually, even if you take a breathalyzer and you are below 0.08, you can still get arrested for a DUI because some people are very intoxicated, let's say as little as 0.03, and others don't appear intoxicated, let's say at 0.26. It all depends on the person. So going back to typically the average person metabolizes alcohol at the rate of 0.015% per hour. So to use round numbers, if you are, let's say, behind the wheel and you are 0.15, nearly twice the illegal limit, it would take you about 10 hours to dry out, to have all the alcohol out of your system. And so, you try coffee, you try other stimulants, you try some other things. That's not going to reduce your alcohol level. It may make you a little bit more alert temporarily, but it also may lead you to crash after that. I don't mean physically, I mean to your body, because all of a sudden now you get an infusion of caffeine. Let's say it's a coffee drink that has a lot of caffeine. So you're alert for a little while, and when that caffeine dissipates, boy, you're going to bottom out. So that's not the solution. The solution is you better sleep it off, wait it off, do whatever you got to do under those circumstances.
Well, what's the process of protocol for a driver who's been arrested under the influence of, they're taken to the county jail in this case, and I'm not questioning the Peoria County Sheriff's Department. I just inquiring people want to know. She was released. Do they give that person a breathalyzer test? how do they or did they even evaluate? Well, you can go home now, without knowing.
Well,
and maybe they went home in someone else's car.
Well, what happens is, for example, this lady you're referring to that had a bunch of parked cars apparently on North Adams, she gets into the jail, she gets processed, she gets booked, she gets fingerprinted, she gets photographed, and it could be determined, depending on the timing, okay, we're going to send you home. She's not going home with the car. They always put at least a 12-hour hold on that car if someone's driving, so they don't get right back in the wheel. And they're not, the jail's not going to release somebody who's a danger to themselves. I mean, if they're so intoxicated they cannot walk, they cannot think, they're essentially incoherent, they're going to keep them in a holding cell until they essentially sleep it off. But most people in that situation are allowed to be released under the new Safety Act, and from there they probably call for a ride, bus, Uber, taxi, but they're not touching their car for at least 12 hours. And then what they do, if they get arrested in the city of Peoria, they then have to go to the police station, pay $525, which is an impound fee based upon local ordinance, and then they have to go down to the tow yard, wherever their car is being held, and then with a release, and pay the tow and storage fees before they get their cars. So most people don't even attempt it within 12 hours, but there's clearly a hold 12 hours by law.
It is an important process, no question about it. How do
you asked to, let me say this. You asked about a breathalyzer.
Yeah.
No, they do not breathalyze somebody for the sake of whether they can release them or not. When a person is arrested on suspicion of DUI, they typically are given an option to either take a breath test, sometimes a blood test, sometimes a urine test, but some sort of chemical testing, or to decline. And the consequences would be this. If you are arrested for DUI and you are, quote, a first offender, and you take a breathalyzer and you are .08 or above, you're going to have a 6-month suspension of your driving privileges, starting 46 days in the future. Now, if you refuse testing, you're going to have a 12-month suspension. Under either scenario, the police don't tell you this, under either scenario, if that suspension ends up being valid, in other words, you don't challenge it, maybe it's airtight, what have you, you can apply for and receive a permit to drive, whether it's for the 6 months or the 12 months. You put what is called a breath alcohol ignition interlock device in your car, and you can drive anywhere you want, any time of day, for whatever reason. The only restrictions are no consuming alcohol before or while operating the motor vehicle.
I have a question for you. I've watched some of these TV shows, reality, where they're actually arresting people. And I've heard officers say to a suspect, you're awfully nervous, and indicating that they have something to hide. How does an officer know whether or not that person suffers from anxiety? I know I get nervous as soon as I see the bubble lights on behind me with a police car and so forth. I get nervous. That's not always a good criteria, is it, for wondering whether the person has had too much to drink or is on drugs?
Not necessarily. You're right. Not necessarily. However, what sometimes I've referred to that kind of in the industry is black and white fever, and that is whether you're being stopped for having a headlight out, or you're being stopped for speeding, DUI, whatever the case may be. Most everybody's heart rate is going to accelerate big time. You're going to be nervous no matter what, and that's most people. A seasoned, I suppose, a seasoned criminal may not feel that way, but most people get very, very nervous. So, in order to take it to the next step, most people, well, if you're driving where you're bouncing off the curbs, that's pretty good suspicion from the officer that you're under the influence. But most people don't get stopped for that. Get stopped for speeding, maybe get apprehended after an accident. Maybe their license plate light is out, which I think is a ticky-tack basis to stop somebody, but that's just one man's opinion. And so that, they get stopped. Typically the officer says, well, I can smell alcohol. Well, isn't that interesting? Because pure alcohol has no aroma. Alcohol, it's the ingredients that go with alcohol that typically emit an odor. And for example, if you're drinking beer, it's typically the hops in that beer that are kicking out that aroma. If it's wine, it's the tannins in the wine. If it's a distilled drink, a lot of times it's the mixer. And you always ask a cop, isn't it true that pure alcohol does not have an aroma? Most honest cops will say, yeah, I agree with you. You drill down a little bit and say, now, based upon the three types of beverages, whether you're drinking a mixed drink, whether you're drinking a glass of wine, or a stein of beer, isn't it true that beer and wine emit the strongest aroma? Most honest cops will say yes. Well, officer, isn't it true that beer and wine per beverage, whether it's a 12-ounce beer or a 9-ounce glass of wine, have the least amount of alcohol per serving? They agree with that. So the odor of alcohol in and of itself doesn't tell you a whole lot. But then they're always going to say, well, their eyes were red, glassy, runny, wet, whatever. Well, that's a very common trait at night, no matter whether a person's been drinking or not, after a full day of work, perhaps nighttime driving, and then the cop's going to say, well, I want you to get out of the car, I want to do these field tests. You can refuse field testing. Would very simply say, no, I'm not going to do that, and there's absolutely no consequence for you to refuse doing that. If the person says, I'm not going to take those field tests, they're stupid, which I think they are, but they are approved by the courts. There's nothing a cop can do. He's going to say, fine, you're under arrest. So at this point, let's say in the example I'm showing, person gets arrested, doesn't take the field, doesn't undergo the field test, let's say doesn't take a breathalyzer, arrested for DUI. What does the cop have? He's got the odor of alcohol, which we've established doesn't tell us a whole lot. Maybe red eyes, that's very common. I can tell you I've got red eyes this morning, having not been drinking this morning, by the way. Maybe slurred speech. A cop doesn't know somebody's speech pattern. And, I had a case years ago where my client had a tongue ring, and the cop said he had a real bad lisp. Well, we were in court, and I had my client wear his tongue ring, which I can't imagine anything worse, but he did. I asked him, I said, does it affect your speech? He goes, yes, I have a hard time sometimes enunciating. I said, well, I want you to look at the judge and stick out your tongue. And everybody goes, oh, God. Well, in fact, he did that. And the judge says, well, I see the tongue ring. I'll make a note of that. And ultimately, not guilty. So, and that happened to be my youngest son, not Adam, but my youngest son, in case Adam's listening, who lives in California, who's now a very successful attorney and a managing partner at a law firm. So, but this was years ago. I think I've told the story, but Adam always gets after me. Clarify it was my brother, not me. You're killing my reputation. So it's on a case by case, fact by fact basis. And no, if a person's nervous, that alone does not justify further intrusion into the person's status or extending the length of the detention at the side of the road. It's got to be more than that. A person being nervous, not making eye contact, maybe stuttering, maybe clamming up, or even I see a lot of people that talk profusely. Under those circumstances, that alone is not enough to extend the traffic stop or dig deeper, so to speak, into what the person has in their car. Does it justify a search? Not of itself, it does not.
I make a comparison between a police officer in uniform and the bubble lights on his car to white coat syndrome at the doctor's office. It always bothers me when I go to the doctor's office and since I made mention of it on more than one occasion, they wait. But they say, Mr. Monroe, Roger, okay, come on. So you go into the exam room, and she slaps on the cuff right away. Well, I just now walked up a couple of stairs or whatever the case may be, and I said, do you mind waiting until I have an opportunity to calm down? And they've adjusted it, but I remember going to one of these dock-in-the-box facilities, said that to the CNA who took my blood pressure. He says, well, what we'll do, Roger, is we'll take it again later. And inevitably, usually, it's lower when they take it the second time.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I know that I've been unfortunately for the last 6 or 8 weeks, I've been the victim of a number of eye surgeries, and I always take my blood pressure prior to the surgery, and you got to figure probably somewhere between 10 and 20% elevated for the fact that you're in a medical environment and you're nervous about the procedure. And it would be no different, I suppose, than if you took my blood pressure when I walk into a courtroom about ready to start a trial. It's going to be elevated. It'd be great to do a study, but I don't know how they could do it, of a person, how their heart rate and their blood pressure changes when they encounter a cop on the street. Whether you're, a little old lady from Pasadena or you're a thug that's 20 years old, there's going to be some correlation between that, and that's got to be factored in, and most seasoned judges will recognize that.
Yeah. All right, let's turn to a national case, and maybe you can explain to me the reasoning behind the request. The attorneys, and I guess Mangione himself, who shot and killed the insurance executive in the back in downtown New York, they want a public TV trial. What's the motivation for that?
Well, the simplest answer to that is they want their 15 minutes of fame, and it may keep them more engaged. It may make them a little bit more obstreperous. It may make them a little bit more, agitated and trying to demonstrate what great advocates they are. That typically is controlled by local law. So, for example, if you're in federal court, that's not going to happen. You don't have a right to televised trials, and federal court does not allow cameras in the courtroom. You take a state like Illinois, they do allow them. The media, they usually have a representative, like a pool representative, that files what they call a request for extended media coverage, and most judges will grant it. So in Illinois, what they are required to do is, you don't sit, the reporters don't sit in the front row snapping pictures where you can hear that click, click, click. They typically put a camera in the back of the courtroom, stationary, and obviously it swivels. They don't show the jury, they show the judge, they may show the prosecutor, they may show the witnesses, they may show the defendant and the defense attorney, but it's in the back of the courtroom where you don't even know it. Now, take the O.J. Simpson case. That was the case. That's the antithesis of why cameras should not be in the courtroom. They probably could have handled that trial in 6 weeks instead of 6 months, but for all the grandstanding. So, this decision in New York is going to be made by the judge. If they're making that request for cameras, that tells me that New York does allow that to happen, and it's going to be discretionary with the judge. But, there is, I suppose there's a positive to it. If somebody wants to pay attention and see how the criminal justice system is designed to work, you can follow the trial from the start to the finish. You see the entire process. Also, if you're that interested, go down and watch it in person if you can. But I don't know that there's any tactical or strategic advantage for the defense to request media coverage, other than again to grandstand. And I had a case a couple weeks ago that had media coverage, and I'll be honest, I did not realize until we took a break near the end of the trial there was a camera in the courtroom. It was that remote and then that unobstructive. Didn't even realize it. Didn't hear anything. And when if I'm in trial, I'm so focused and myopic that I don't pay attention to what's going on behind me. I'm looking at what's going on in front of me, whether it's evidence or a witness. And somebody also always asks me, kind of as an aside, well, do you pay attention to what the jurors are doing, their facial expressions, their body language? No, I don't get a chance. I gotta be full on for a witness, getting ready to either present the witness for direct examination or cross examination. So, you know, I'm at a great disadvantage. But I've often had people in the courtroom sitting behind me, whether it's family or a secretary or whoever, that says, "Hey, Sully, I was watching that jury. You got to work on this juror number 3, or you got juror number 6. They're nodding, they're agreeing with you, they're smiling." You know, it's nice to hear that, but I don't get to see that. Unfortunately, unlike my teachers in school, I've only got 2 eyes, none in the back of my head, and it's just a matter of concentrating.
Yeah. Well, that's Kevin Sullivan. On the other hand, we know there are attorneys, and they certainly were present for the big Hollywood trial, as you know, that went on for 6 months instead of 6 weeks or whatever the case may be. Hey, I wanted to ask you before I let you go this morning, Kevin, I know you're busy, is what's your position on transgenders in sports competition?
Men should play against men, women against women. I think the entire NCAA situation, beyond the transgender issue, they're ruining college sports. And I think, there's certain things that the law should not get involved with. One is promoting men playing against women. I've got a very strong feeling about that. And through no fault of anybody's, men were built different. Take it up with God. That's natural law. The other thing, too, is it really irritates me is you get let's say a male, that let's say is playing as a woman. I'm just going to say volleyball, let's say in high school, and his team wins, or let's say a biological male who's swimming against other women, he wins every swim meet and now gets a scholarship as a trans female, and then you're really disadvantaging otherwise a woman, female, who is a competitor from getting a scholarship. And I think that is morally, I think that's ethically, and I think it's legally wrong. I think, some things we have to accept as nature's law, and that's one of them.
As always, it's a pleasure talking with you, my friend. I appreciate it, and I know you have a busy day. I'll let you go. Thanks, Kevin Sullivan.
You're very welcome, and I didn't know if you wanted to hit on the Fauci referral.
Yes, do that.
Okay. We got a couple minutes, it looks like.
Bet.
I'm just looking at my watch. The committee is expected to vote today on party lines, so it would be a difference of 1 vote in favor of referring Fauci to for criminal prosecution for contempt of Congress. Now, the Senate or the House does not have the authority to arrest him. They don't have the authority to charge him. They don't have the authority to prosecute him. That will go to the Justice Department. But before it goes there, it's got to clear the entire Senate. Since this was a Senate hearing, the entire Senate, if it gets out of committee, as they say, it'll then go to the entire Senate, and I think it's going to probably stall there based on the filibuster. It's going to take, I believe, 60 votes to get that into the Justice Department. Then the Justice Department has to do their research, determine is this going to be a successful prosecution. And, of course, I don't think there's probably anything more than Donald Trump would like to do than prosecute Fauci. And I think the Court of Public Opinion tells us there's one side that says, he's a liar, he's a cheat, he's a megalomaniac, he's out for himself. And others are saying, let's move on. Put it in the rearview mirror. It is what it is. We're beyond that now. Let's go. But then the Justice Department has to do their research. And again, exercising the Fifth Amendment right, 2 things about that. Number 1, it doesn't protect him from states that may prosecute him. And right now there's investigations open in, I believe, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama as to how Fauci's actions affected the residents of those states. And 2, are very reticent to want to rule against somebody who exercises a constitutional right. And so I think this thing is dead on arrival, to be honest with you. But it's just going to be Rand Paul, getting 1 ounce of satisfaction saying, well, I did my job and this guy's a fraud, and we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to die on the vine.
It might, on the other hand. My understanding is that Rand Paul is not going to call for a full Senate vote, that he's doing an end around and is just doing it as a result of his committee's vote today to refer it from the committee to the Department of Justice.
Well, that's interesting because usually it's got to clear, it goes from committee to the whole body,
yes, correct,
the whole Senate, and that'll be interesting. I think that waters it down even more when it arrives at the Justice Department.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking that if they wanted to, if members of Congress wanted to have some success in referring him for prosecution for contempt of Congress, I would think that the House of Representatives, being that it is Republican majority, that they would do the same thing, conduct a hearing in the Senate or in the House, he'll take the fifth again, there's no doubt about that, and then from there, have the Congress refer it because there's no filibuster, and it would be a majority vote. It's a little simpler than the rules of the Senate. But, again, they might be thinking, why are we going back in history? We got more important things to do. I don't know. That's above my pay grade, and we'll see what happens down the road. But I still think the end result's going to be the same, dead on arrival.
Yeah, you're probably right. However, Republicans are said much the same thing about January 6th and the Russian collusion. Let's move on. But for 4 years, they continue to go after Donald Trump. So I can see where Rand Paul, there is somewhat of a personality dispute between Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci. But at any rate, have a great day, and we'll talk to you sooner rather than later. Kevin Sullivan.
You got it. Everybody have a great day as well, and stay dry.
You bet. Kevin Sullivan. We'll be right back after this message.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there's nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Well, boys and girls, we're just rolling right along on this Wednesday morning. News, weather, sports coming up at the top of the hour. Thanks for being a part of our program on WAZU FM 90.7 in beautiful Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube at Roger and Friends LS live streaming. We continue, so stay tuned. Thank you, Kevin Sullivan. Always a pleasure. Get into it. We'll start with a check of the weather brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, bridging the gap between hospital and home with skilled nurses, therapists, and personal care assistants. They've been around helping folks since 1993. Quality care by quality healthcare professionals, and they're available 24/7 to take care of your loved one. You can reach them today at 309-245-0723. That's 245-0723. 888-203. And Dave has our weather. What do we have over there,
Well, I
Dave?
get some showers that are moving into the vicinity too. So I think our day is starting out mostly cloudy with some showers and thunderstorms. Some of them are coming on light rain today, but then that heavier rain comes in this afternoon with a high of 84 degrees, and then the showers continue through tonight, low 68. So take those umbrellas today on the way to school and work. It's been a long time since we said school and work, right? Yeah.
School bell.
So
We ring the school bell. There we go.
there we go. Time for
That
class,
makes it
everybody.
official.
Yeah, my locker.
What time does school start now?
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah, my locker won't open. Where's my backpack?
Yeah. Was it,
A dog ate my homework.
what time does school start in Princeville?
I think it was
You don't
either
remember?
8 or 8:10 or.
Ours was 8:20 after I moved to Dunlap. When I went to Von Steuben, it was 9 o'clock.
Oh,
it was
there you
9
go.
o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Days half
I
over.
think high school was 8 o'clock. I think when I went to Woodruff High School. And we always started with home rule.
Homeroom.
Home rule.
Yeah, home rule. That means you can't.
But that's a little different.
They're gonna eminent domain on your locker. Is that what that is? we're building
See,
it.
one word
Yes.
totally changed my
right.
thought
The whole
process.
sentence, yep.
Homeroom, that's
Yeah,
exactly
it's
right.
a home run, that's for sure.
And well, my home room was the letter M. Everybody in the class had last name that started with
Oh.
letter M.
Oh.
I won't say everybody. Somebody might have slipped in with an L.
Yeah, that's
Or an
right.
N.
Or an N, yeah. And that's the weather.
Well, we only got through one day of the weather. So, hey, when you do come home from school and work today,
okay.
eventually when you come home, it's going to be looking down to 68. And then tomorrow, partly sunny and not as warm, a high of 80 degrees. Some chance for showers. And then Friday and Saturday look like we're drying out for a pretty nice looking weekend. Sunny and 84 on Friday, and Saturday a high of 86. And we're all the way up to 75 degrees. The humidity is still holding in the high 80s, low 90s. So rain is on the way.
Yeah, you bet, and more humidity for that matter. Now the news presented by Matt Wall, certified public accountant, tax specialist with Gordon Stockman Wall. Matt's a graduate of Bradley University in DePaul. He also is available, providing a broad range of accounting, auditing, management consulting, and income tax planning. Matt Wall, all things finance, available at 309-692-4030. Here's Terry.
Another possible attempt on the life of President Trump was ended with the arrest of 38-year-old John Talley of Downey, California. Police and federal authorities said the man was grabbed while walking on the golf course at the Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes Sunday. Talley was taking pictures and shooting video when he was taken into custody. During a pat-down, police found a loaded magazine in his pants, and a search of his car uncovered a loaded weapon and magazine, which was not Golf Digest.
Yeah, exactly. Reading material ahead.
Yeah.
Last night, the president spoke at a Republican fundraising event at his golf club and then flew Air Force One to Las Vegas, where he'll speak tonight at the Red Rock Resort. He's on the campaign trail on behalf of Republican candidates who are on the midterm ballots in November. He's hoping the GOP will retain control of the House and the Senate.
There were primary races yesterday in 5 states: Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Washington, and Virginia. Much of the media focused on the Democrat race for U.S. Senate in Michigan between radical left-wing Abdul El-Sayed and moderate Representative Haley Stevens. El-Sayed is leading, and in Missouri, radical leftist Wesley Bell easily defeated Cori Bush for the Democrat nomination for the House of Representatives. Voters also rejected a measure to eliminate the state income tax. 8 states have no such tax, such as Florida, Texas, and Tennessee.
All right. Senator Rand Paul says he'll refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress after a committee vote tomorrow morning. Paul, chairman of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee, wants Fauci investigated for failing to answer key questions regarding his alleged contradictory comments to Congress and disclosures in his diary.
That planned massive bombing attack on Iran remains on hold. President Trump says he's hopeful of reaching some kind of peace agreement with Iran, but Iranian officials say there are no scheduled talks on the table. Reportedly, military officials want to proceed and just get on with it.
Meanwhile, Ukraine President Zelensky says its flight of drones in July inflicted massive casualties on Russian forces. He said more than 30,000 Russian soldiers were killed or injured. President Putin has recruited troops from Africa, Asia, and Latin America to help replace fallen Russian soldiers.
In local news, Tazewell County Coroner Charles Hanley reports the death of a 74-year-old man from Delavan who was found dead in McDonough Park in rural Pekin. The coroner said the man was known as a long-distance runner and suggested the death was heart-related. He did not identify the victim.
Peoria police did release the name of the woman who drove her car into other vehicles and gas pumps at the Circle K stations in the 2900 block of North Adams in North Peoria. 58-year-old Christina Gibson was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and driving under the influence. One of the cars she hit injured 2 people who went to the hospital, and Gibson was later released.
In a sports note, a French transgender basketball player is hoping that she will get the chance to play in this country's WNBA. Julie Tetart, a 34-year-old biological male, once known as Jimmy, dominated league play in Europe, averaging 21 points a game and 20 rebounds. No word on whether the WNBA is interested.
That's interesting. What do you think? Do you think the NBA will be interested or not?
Yeah.
I hope not. They got enough issues.
Yeah, they already have enough on their plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. In the meantime, let's get more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Rich Drager. 2 of 6 requested commercial building and property improvement grants in Washington are now off the table. One of the requests the Washington City Council turned down was $45,000 for the Cherry Tree Shopping Center. Cherry Tree already received $50,000 last year. That convinced Alderperson Brandon Moss to vote no.
Simply because I think it shouldn't be used as a repetitive maintenance fund, and especially for a center that, while thriving might not be the right word, seems to be healthy, at least.
Approved grant requests go to Associated Veterinary Clinic, Myers Tinting, Washington Plaza, and BLC Properties. Bo Sutherland is the new full-time general manager of the Peoria Civic Center. Sutherland has served as the venue's interim GM since June 1st when Rick Edgar left the position. He's been with the Downtown Entertainment and Convention Hub for 26 years as one of its longest tenured employees. During his time at the Civic Center, Sutherland helped secure the naming rights deal for the Prairie Home Alliance Theater. As GM, he will now oversee all operations of the arena, convention center, and theater. Parents starting on back-to-school shopping will get a temporary sales tax break for 10 days this month. From Friday, August 7th through August 16th, the state's sales tax on school supplies will be reduced 5%. Capital News Illinois reports items with a lower sales tax will include traditional supplies such as markers and pencils, notebooks, folders, and other classroom items, as well as many clothing purchases. An Americana duo with Central Illinois roots returns on the heels of a trip to the Great American State Fair. Stone and Snow's Karen Bridges and Clint Thompson say they applied on a lark, never expecting to get in. Thompson says despite the event's political leanings, they said yes and played protest songs on the National Endowment for the Arts Legacy stage.
Like, yeah, we get it, like, plenty of reasons to stay away and not participate and just make fun of it, but also like the 250th is something we should all get to celebrate, we should all be proud of.
Stone and Snow play a free show Friday at Poor Brothers Tap Room in Peoria Heights. I'm Rich Drager.
Okay, Rich, thanks for news from WCPU. And now let's get into sports, and Tyrus is here. What do you have, Tyrus?
Well, thank you, Roger. Let's start with the Peoria Sports News. The Peoria Chiefs at 51-51 played today against the Quad City River Bandits, affiliate with the Kansas City Royals. They play at 6:35 p.m. today. It's a home series. They have 5 games left.
Are you kidding me? 5 games left for the season, or just 5 games at homestand?
For like the home stretch stand.
So the season isn't over.
No, not quite.
Because they still have playoffs.
September 5th is their last regular.
Right now they're playing better.
Yeah.
You know how they usually do the 6 games or whatever against the same team. So that's what they're doing. They only have 5 games left against the River Bandits. But anyways, and you can bring your dogs to the ballpark today.
You can bring your dogs.
Yeah.
Do you have to bring your own pooper scooper?
Would hope
Guess
so.
Yeah.
Delay of game.
Delay of game, yeah. We have
Fido.
we have a pile at second base.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did the dogs get to run the bases after the game?
Probably.
You know, speaking of that, I don't know if you watched the Cub game after the game was over, but they were interviewing a player or two, and apparently they let the kids go out on the field after the game because I could see
Yeah,
a little
that's awesome.
kid. He was playing golf. He wasn't playing
Yeah.
baseball. He had a golf club and a ball that he was swinging at. It was kind of cute.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, when they let the kids get to do that.
Get on
'cause,
the
I mean,
field.
that'll be a memory.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be a core memory. MLB news: the Cubs are in second place, 5.5 out of first, 65-49, and they beat the Dodgers last night, 5-1. They will go for the sweep today at 1:20 p.m. They're playing some good baseball, and they got some reinforcements
Yes,
at
they
the
did.
trade deadline. And I can go
You're
over
a Cardinal fan. Both of
I
you
am.
are.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
they get anybody? Because they keep getting rid of
nobody.
players who go on to
Yeah.
bigger and better. Like who was the guy that hit home run for the Dodgers? Used to be Edmund.
Tommy Edmonds.
Tommy Edmonds,
Why
yeah.
did they get rid of him? He's a good ball player. Now
Yeah.
he's playing with the champion Dodgers.
Yeah.
Was he too good, or was he not good enough, or were they paying too
We've
much
released
money?
quite a few.
Well,
Yeah.
so Tommy Edmond was good for sure, but we always have somebody else that's coming up, and
It's
you know the Cardinals don't really.
working out quite well for the Cardinals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good
Well, I mean-
decision. What are they? 14 games out of first.
Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah.
So here I'll give you the example for that one. So you remember Colton Wong?
Yes.
Remember we had him?
Yeah.
So at that time it was Tommy Edmond who was coming up. So then Colton Wong, they got him out of there and brought up Tommy Edmond, and then let him be the guy for a while, and then now it was.
Now it's Weatherholt or Weatherholtz or whatever, who
So-
loves to blow bubbles, but not much more than that.
And look at, they almost let Mason win. They were going to look at him, but he's still, he's there. There's nobody coming up with him. So.
I look for you guys to lose your manager. I think front office.
There was a call
Yeah,
last
fine.
year for that.
Yes,
and he
it
actually
was.
had a nice little rally because he
Yes,
kept,
he did.
like to Cyrus's point, he was trying to bring up people from Memphis and trying to change the lineups and not giving it time to gel. He's learned that doesn't always work, but that's not working either now.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well,
you need some strength in your bullpen too.
Well, you need to let your fans know you're not happy with things. And who's the most vulnerable in that situation?
That would be
the
the
field manager.
Yep.
Exactly
yeah,
right.
every time when.
Because you can't get rid of the ball players ad nauseum. So you take the guy who's most vulnerable, and that's the coach. That's the
Sometimes
manager.
they're not all producing, and that's what happens.
That's
and
right.
What are you gonna do? I mean,
You fire the manager.
that's usually what happens. But like,
But the
that's
one
not,
they
that's
should
not always
fire,
their fault, though.
the guy who's the key for the development of a baseball team in the major leagues
Well, it takes a
is your
while.
general manager.
We have a new one.
And I've said for some time the Cubs need to get a replacement for, I think his name is Judd Hoyer.
Judd Hoyer.
And I don't know who it is for the Cardinals, Augie Bush or
Mozeliak or-
Harry
I know.
Carey.
So
or Chief Carey.
So John Mozeliak is gone
I can never
now.
pronounce his name. Yeah.
And now it is Chaim Bloom.
Well, he should get out just because of his name.
No, he's only had these. I think last 2 years. Well, mostly this year, but he took over kind of like halfway last year. But anyways, he's building the system, which is. I mean, I can go over it after all this.
Well,
but,
as a fan, I don't give a damn.
I know. Oh, I know.
Oh, you fickle fans. Just wait till next year.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, you know what, though? With your pitching staff decimated, you're still doing a nice little job. And when I
Well,
say
they
you...
got some new.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
They brought
They've
in the new
rejuvenated.
guys.
They did a nice
Well,
job. I got to give them credit. They've done a nice job of patching the holes in the staff. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna go over that after I spew through all this. The Cardinals at 56-58, 14.5 out of first, and 4 games out of the wild card. They got shut out last night 2-0 against the Yankees, but can win the series tonight at 6:05 p.m. That'd be a good little series win. The Yankees at 64-50, 3.5 games behind the Rays. White Sox at 59-53, 3 games up on the lead for first in the division. Lost last night 14-2 against the Red Sox. They can tie the 3-game series up tonight at 6:10 p.m. The Phillies at 61-53 in second, 7.5 games out of first. Shut out the Nationals yesterday 5-0. They will go for the series win tonight at 5:40 p.m. Game 3 of a 4-game set. In the WNBA, the Indiana Fever are 19-11. They play tomorrow versus the Las Vegas Aces at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Chicago Sky at 11-19 play tonight at 8 p.m. versus the Los Angeles Sparks. In the NFL, the Chicago Bears safety Kobe Bryant will be out 8 to 10 weeks. Bryant hyperextended his knee and sustained a bone bruise and a small fracture, but is not expected to need surgery to recover, so I think that maybe puts him at like week 3 or 4 of the season. But you don't want to rush him back either, so if it's longer, you know, but usually fans like tweak out about all that stuff. And happier news for the Bears, tackle Darnell Wright signed a 4-year, $116 million extension to stay long-term with the Bears. He actually has a $93 million guaranteed.
So happy for him, not for us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Where's my money?
So, and then I'll go over the Cubs moves right now. The Chicago Cubs, they traded Jefferson Rojas to the New York Mets for Clay Holmes and left fielder Tyrone Taylor. So you'll see those 2 guys at some point. They also traded for Ryan Zefron, who you saw last night.
Yeah, he did a good job in relief.
Yes, he did.
He got the job done.
And they traded catcher Moises Balisarios and Mason McGuire to the Angels. And then Cubs also got Braxton Garrett from the Miami Marlins for Jonathan Long and Jay Speck. These are all minor league people.
These are all minor league players.
And then they also got Kevin Gausman from the Blue Jays for Brett Bateman and Ty Southson.
Yeah.
And then they traded Jameson Taillon to the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
For a player to be named.
They did trade. They got rid of him. He had a terrible record and was struggling. Should have been sent down to Des Moines, but maybe he'll have a different change with Toronto. Anything else this morning?
I can go over what the Cardinals did if you want to know, but can you do what the Cardinals did in 2011, please? Would that be better?
Well, you know what?
I would like
say we won the World Series, though.
Thank you.
So that was.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's why. If you want to go back to 86, that's fine too. Maybe. Can we relive all the 11 championships?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty nice back then, wasn't it?
It was wonderful back then.
That
Hey,
was
at least
fun.
we've won a couple this century, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's
And the old
last
saying,
century.
wait until next year. I know one of the things, if you don't mind, Tyrus, that Dave brought up that I was unaware of, and that is the desire, they're working to try to bring a grocery store back to where Kroger left at the corner of Sterling and Forest Hill. And a little reminder to the city fathers and mothers, for that matter, Big Lots left, CVS left, Kroger left, and the general thinking is, and that's my old neighborhood for over 35 years, they all left because they were getting shoplifted blind. And until you deal with that problem, forget the tax increment financing and the other schemes in order to bring some sucker into the neighborhood until you figure out a way to stop the shoplifting.
Yeah, but it got so bad there for a while. Remember, Kroger didn't even have shopping carts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right, yeah.
But my cousin
Yeah.
lives over there. She normally went. She goes, it's got so bad that
They were stealing the carts and taking them, yeah.
and so they did away with
Yeah.
the shopping carts for a while.
And I don't know
It's
what
like-
the answer is. Is it enhanced security? I mean, because again, there's a corporate feeling that, hey, we have accepted amount of loss. And when that accepted loss rate climbs too high, we're just going to close the
They
store.
just close the
Yep,
store down,
absolutely.
yeah.
And they're a business.
And they're not alone. The McDonald's in the 2900 block of North Adams closed because they kept getting robbed.
Robbed, yeah.
And instead of addressing the root cause of why they're leaving, they think up other eyes. Well, we need, and you hear the politicians say, well, it's an underserved area and we need to get a store there. Well, solve the crime problem and people will be happy to stay there.
Right.
But the city of Peoria did not address the crime problem on Sterling, did not address the armed robbery at McDonald's. And you say, well, what are you going to do? Well, maybe you need to have a patrol car patrolling the neighborhoods as they used to do when I was a little kid. It was not unusual in the 2900 block of North Madison to occasionally see during the day, once or twice or three times, a police car cruising through the neighborhood.
Right, and I think also there's a lot of issues in the community related to that. For instance, we've talked about this in the show before. You know, you go in any intersection now, and now some of the panhandlers are getting aggressive. They're stepping into traffic, and I noticed
Are
the
they
signs.
really?
I've had that happen just the other day. And
No
interesting,
kidding.
the signs. If you notice the signs, panhandling it could be dangerous and strongly it doesn't
yeah.
address that it's a big issue.
Illegal, yeah.
You know, and I found in some cases, you know, like charitable events, they're not allowed to accept donations. However, every day, the panhandlers are, and I just find that that's the point I'm making is
Where
it's
did
all,
you get assault approach?
they step right in the car over on Sterling, and you know where that intersection of War Memorial, stepping right into traffic. Now, whether or not it was
Scenic Drive?
and I think it could have been like, you know, when a person say, "Hey, I'm waving a bill," so he just steps right out there. But you know, and then I'm
No,
also
I don't
noticing
think so.
some of the other intersections where you find some organizations. There was one, I think it was a church. There was like 4 people, every single lane collecting money for who knows what. It's supposedly it's a church, an organization. Anyway, my point being is that related to like going back to the grocery stores and some of the basic quality of life issues, shall we say, that have to do with crime, safety, and things like that, those have to be addressed before we start bringing businesses,
Yeah,
before we
they're
start
trying to.
allowing things like that. And I would say I don't know the answer, but the answer's got to be enforcement. It's not like panhandling is discouraged. No, you can't do it. It's that simple. And here's what's going to happen if you do it. I mean, that's how we grew
Yeah,
up.
but for some reason,
Right.
the mentality of the lawmakers is, well, we can't do that. Like you say, then you've got the people saying, well, they're being underserved. They're undercutting themselves. If they would ride herd on their own kids and on their own neighborhoods, then it wouldn't ruin it for everybody else.
And I think a lot of the social service agencies are struggling with that too.
They're trying, but
they're trying what they can do. I get it, and kudos to them. There's so many organizations in town. However, there's something broken in the lineage system, and I think that's the biggest challenge for our city council and for for everybody in our area. We love our city. It's a great city. Don't get me wrong, I love
absolutely.
it. Yeah, but again, we're at a point where we have to address the fundamental issues that are causing businesses to leave, as you mentioned earlier too.
Well, we were talking the other day. I heard a bunch of ladies talking. I don't remember what store it was. It might have been Walmart. And they said they watched somebody walk out with the stuff. And they went over to the management and said, hey, you know, just watch your stuff for pockets with stuff. Yeah, we know.
And that was it.
And that was it. And you've heard of people, well, remember the guy got fired from Sears when he jumped over the counter and ran out with the shoplifter. He was punished for that. And that's a big part of the issue, is that these people get by with it because they know that they're not going to be punished. Nobody's going to hold them accountable. When I was growing up, the fear of being caught and the shame of being caught was enough to keep you from doing it.
Right.
There isn't any of that anymore.
Yeah, years ago, a person would be ostracized and would be arrested and apprehended, handcuffed, and taken to the police station. Now you have a laissez-faire attitude that, well, yeah, we know. Another good example is and I've mentioned this before, somebody got hacked into my Discover account and charged $12,000 worth of merchandise. And I let them know that's not me, and I'm not going to pay any $12,000 because I actually have at $9.99 a month a insurance coverage with Discover
Yeah, I do
to
too.
protect you from fraud, and that's a good investment. And so they took care of it, and I said, "Can you tell me who did it?" Now, Mr. Monroe, we can tell you that it was a business in California, but we're not going to follow up. And I said, "Why not?" And the woman, who was a female attorney, she said, "Because we write off $1 to $2 million a year in fraud losses, and we don't have the resources." Well, all that is doing is taking care of me, hallelujah, but you're encouraging the ongoing thievery of people who know that even if they get caught, nothing's going to happen.
Exactly. There's no consequences. Nobody's punished for anything. They're almost rewarded. Like, oh, hey, you pulled one off, and let's try it again. Right. And boy, is that a messed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We beat the system, sort of thing.
And then,
Yes.
and the other thing that we've talked about years ago at Bergner's, I was talking at a St. Jude meeting with a Bergner's high-ranking official who at that time was a major sponsor of the St. Jude Telethon. And we got to talking about shoplifting. I said, "What do you do when you catch them?" He said, "Well, this may surprise you. Our major shoplifting is coming from our own employees." I said, "You're kidding." He said, "No, I wish I were, but they're hard to catch. You don't want to put cameras in a dressing room for employees and so forth. That's kind of an invasion of privacy. You can't do that." So
I remember
that contributed to their losses over the years that ultimately led to the closure of all the Bergner stores.
I remember years ago working retail. As a matter of fact, during college breaks, there used to be a Toys R Us right over here. And I'd work like a 14-hour day on a Saturday because that's all I could do. And they would line everybody up before you left. The doors closed. You didn't get to leave at 10.
Is that
They'd line you up.
And search
and they
you?
would search you. And nobody, it was just the way. Could you imagine today? Oh, it's an invasion of my privacy. Inevitably, every Saturday, they'd find electronic in somebody's pocket and everybody. But you know, back then, I was happy to have the job. I didn't complain. I'm like, this is great. But, but again, you couldn't do that today, could you?
No. And going back again to those days, and I remember Toys R Us. They're out of business totally, are they not?
I think they are, yeah.
Well, it's certainly not in Peoria.
No, not
and it was very successful. Store is a wonderful store.
Yeah.
But I was working at Pabst, and I was told, and of course it's by the grapevine, or the proverbial grapevine, that a longtime employee leaving, that's back in the days when employees carried lunch buckets, and they decided, apparently they spotted this guy. Now keep in mind, when you worked in the bottling plant, you could go get a bottle of beer anytime you wanted to on a break, not anytime you wanted to, but on your break.
Sure.
And it was ice cold. I used to, only once, I wasn't a beer drinker, I'm not a beer drinker today, but you could go get a bottle of cold beer, and boy, did it taste good. So you thought, with that as a background, why would a guy put a bottle of beer in his lunch bucket to take home? And they apparently spotted him, and as he was leaving, they stopped him. They said, "Open your lunch bucket." There was a bottle of beer, and they fired him on the spot over a bottle of beer.
Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, the guy could drink until he was drunk on the job, or even after the job. They don't say, when your shift is over, "Get out of the building." And some guys would stick around and have a bottle of beer before they went home.
I think all of our discussion this morning centers around the one idea that's absent. It's personal responsibility, personal pride.
Well said.
And once we lost that collective sense of responsibility, that's where we're at today.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
No, you're exactly right. And it also adds up to the fact that they seem to look the other way. You talked about employees. That wasn't the only one. I remember an employee caught a shoplifter, and they fired the employee. We told you don't chase him. So you did wrong by following what you were taught as a child, knowing the difference between right and wrong.
Well, I watched.
Or in this case, wrong.
Wrong. I watched somebody ride a bike right out of Walmart.
You did?
Wow. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
They
What
kinda chased
Walmart store was it?
The one
on University.
Well,
They should electrify the entrance. With that
kind of
elevator.
close to where the Peoria Fields are. So over there.
The one out there on North Allen Road?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Kind of by Family Medical
Yeah.
over there?
Oh, no, on University.
That's what on University.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Oh, yeah.
University.
There we go.
I'm surprised that Walmart is still open.
Every time I drive by there once, it's still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
go in there, but I was like, well, I kind of have to. I need. You know.
Well, they've cash and carry means something entirely different to me now. I have cash, I'm going to carry it.
But
Yeah.
they did kind of chase that person out.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh,
you're not
really?
going to catch them on a bike. So.
Well, I hate to ask you the question. How do you like your bike?
Yeah.
Stolen, I guess. I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
It's Hot Wheels, that's for sure.
Yeah, you mean the Hot Wheels
I love that. Hot Wheels, boy, in more ways than one. All right, let's do the final newscast of the morning at the bottom of the hour. And it's brought to you by Morton Community Bank, founded in 1960. You know, that bank and that community growing over the years, and today it has 50 branch locations offering personal, business, and agricultural banking services with that well-known hometown feeling. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. And with the news, here's Terry.
I was going to start out, but I think we're remiss. I think he's at work already. Today is Ed Hammond's birthday.
It is.
Oh, happy birthday,
Ed.
Happy birthday, Ed.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday to you.
Voice
Happy
of the riverman
birthday,
now.
dear Eddie.
Happy birthday to him.
Yeah. That was probably the worst version.
Well, we're out of
Happy
tune.
birthday God ever had
Our
to listen
format's
to.
changed to music now.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
talk anymore.
Yeah, I think
Anyway,
you're right.
if you see Ed, wish him a happy birthday
birthday, Ed.
today.
And if you don't see him, wish him happy.
Yeah.
Yes. On with the news. Another possible attempt on the life of President Trump was ended with the arrest of 38-year-old Janan John Tale of Downey, California. Police and federal authorities said the man was grabbed while walking on the golf course at the Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes Sunday. Tale was taking pictures and shooting video when he was taken into custody. During a pat-down, police found a loaded magazine in his pants. A search of his car uncovered a loaded weapon and magazine.
And yes, he was happy to see them.
Oh.
Last night, the president spoke at a Republican fundraising event at his golf club and then flew Air Force One to Las Vegas, where he'll speak tonight at the Red Rock Resort. He's on the campaign trail on behalf of Republican candidates who are on the midterm ballots in November. He's hoping the GOP will retain control of the House and Senate.
There were primary races yesterday in 5 states: Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Washington, and Virginia. Much of the media focused on the Democrat race for U.S. Senate in Michigan between radical left-wing Abdul El-Sayed and moderate Representative Haley Stevens. To Senator Rand Paul's story.
Senator Rand Paul says he'll refer Dr. Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress after a committee vote tomorrow morning. Paul, chairman of the Senate's Homeland Security Committee, wants Fauci investigated for failing to answer key questions regarding his alleged contradictory comments to Congress and disclosures in his diary.
In local news, Tazewell County Coroner Charles Hanley reports the death of a 74-year-old man from Delavan, who was found dead in McDonough Park in rural Pekin. The coroner said the man was known as a long-distance runner and suggested the death was heart-related, but he did not identify the victim. Troy police did release the name of the woman who drove her car into other vehicles and gas pumps at the Circle K station in the 2900 block of North Adams in North Peoria. 58-year-old Christina Gibson was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and driving under the influence. One of the cars she hit injured 2 people who went to the hospital. Gibson was later released. And in a sports note, a French transgender basketball player is hoping she will get the chance to play in this country's WNBA. Julie Tetart, a 34-year-old biological male, once known as Jimmy, dominated league play in Europe, averaging 21 points a game and 20 rebounds. No word on whether the WNBA is interested.
You know, I've always wondered with someone who is a transgender, in this case Jimmy and Julie, do you think at times he becomes confused as to what his identity is at that moment? And, you know, we can joke about it, but I'm not joking. I'm serious. There has to be sometimes mental confusion as to who he is. Does that make sense or not?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like we have good days and we have bad days. I don't care who you are or how positive you are in your mental thinking. I'm a big supporter of positive mental attitude. But there are times when I get down and I'm dragging. You can't, maybe you can. Somebody can convince me that a transgender doesn't find at times confusion as to whether at this moment I'm Jimmy or I'm Julie.
Right. And, you know, I was thinking about this to that point. So right now we're dealing with people maybe younger or whatever, but let's fast forward to maybe when they're, 70, 75, and they're going through some changes in life and identity. And I'm not saying necessarily diminished mental capacity, but what happens when Medicare comes along? How do we determine who's
Good
who?
question.
Those are. I was thinking about that before, and let's go even further into like when it's time perhaps for assisted living. And I don't mean at all to make fun, but who am I? What gender am I when I'm in an assisted living home? Let's say 40 years from now. Those sorts. There's so many.
You're right.
I call it a Pandora's box, for lack of a better word. How do we address those things?
What's interesting, there was an episode on one of the shows I watched. I think it was Chicago Med. But anyway, this person kept talking about she was lost. She didn't know who she was. Yeah. And so they were trying to figure out what was going on. Well, they went to her apartment and they were talking to the neighbors, and it turned out it was a transgender person. She'd been kind of transitioning, but then she got hit. The Alzheimer's was coming in.
Yes, that's my point. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
And when she looked in the mirror, she said, "I'm gone. I don't see myself anymore." So once they figured out what was going on, then the nursing staff got together and they made her up and fixed her all up. And then she looked in the mirror and she goes, "Oh," she goes, "You found me. I'm back."
Wow.
But it just brings up a point that exactly your point that as dementia starts creeping in, could that add to their confusion? Will they not know? And if they don't have a family or a support group, they could be lost.
And we're so right now we're into the political and the social realm of identity and things like that. When you're functioning and you're lively and aware of who you are, you're right though. But what happens? There's a whole other mix of things that'll happen down the road, and we're confronting that with people who know their identity. Could you imagine throwing that wrinkle into it?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Well, here's a very small illustration. And again, I'm not trying to be funny in the least, but for a guy who is a transgender and is thinking female, I'm Julie, I'm no longer Jimmy as I used to be, the thought occurred to me, does Jimmy and now Julie, when they go to the bathroom, still stand up or sit down?
It depends on if they've had the full surgery and transition and that.
No, I'm talking about the transgender that didn't have that just a change of the mind that please treat me as a female now. So the question, so here this guy is who spent his entire life standing for, as we say in street talk, number one, or is Julie now, who is in reality Jimmy, sitting down to do number one?
Yeah, I was down in St. Louis on Friday afternoon. And
I
go
really
through
don't
this-
want to know. To tell you
There's
the
two
truth.
bathrooms, and the both of them, either side said gender neutral bathroom. I don't know which one
Yeah,
to go into.
right,
Not only
yeah,
I was
right.
confused by the gender,
you know,
which
that's
direction
right.
they were both in.
Those
and I'm thinking,
symbols on the
and
doors.
it wasn't locked. I'm open it. What am I
Yeah.
going to? What's behind door number 3? But it was truly a challenging moment. I'm like, there's two bathrooms. They're both gender neutral. I
Yeah.
mean.
Well, it could be in the future. There may be just door number 1.
Door number 1, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now we are trying. We are
yeah.
being funny.
But it
So
was
we
just
have-
a challenging moment. I thought I had never
Yeah.
seen that before.
Yeah. I have been there and done that.
Yeah.
You're
Gingerly
exactly-
turn the knob
and you shouldn't have to
Lightly,
be
exactly.
confused and uncertain about what am I going to walk into
Yeah.
for that
I just wanted to go
matter.
back and have another sandwich.
All right. All right. We haven't done the weather yet, have we? Brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of HomeSmart. Now listening, a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in the city with an unbelievable view of the countryside from a gorgeous living room. This home has a beautiful kitchen with adjoining dining room plus other amenities. You can get all the exciting details from Kathy Reynolds of HomeSmart at 309-696-2162. What do you have there for
Well,
weather?
as promised, our showers are in the vicinity right now as our
They
day
really?
is mostly cloudy today with those showers and thunderstorms ongoing this morning. And then from what we see, that the rain will pick up and probably be a little heavier this afternoon into
Yes.
this evening. So as you prepare for those aforementioned Chiefs game, hopefully that tarp goes out tonight, and we'll see if that game is on. High of 84 today. The showers will continuing into tonight, low of 68. Tomorrow, partly sunny, not as warm, high of 80, and then those lingering chance for showers tomorrow continue. Friday, sunny and 84, and Saturday, sunny of 86, and we are currently all the way up to 77 degrees with those showers in the vicinity, and the humidity, of course, is increased, so stay sticky out there.
Surprisingly, 89%, according to our crawl,
that's a
in
humid
humidity
day.
for that matter.
yeah, it's like
Here's our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. Good Morning America recently aired a very touching story about Elmo, the family dog being saved after suffering smoke inhalation in a house fire. He was found completely lifeless on the floor of the bathroom. Elmo is a 60-pound boxer and considered the third child of the family. His owners were out running errands when their home became an inferno. Thankfully, technology has finally created an inexpensive resuscitation unit for our pets. When Elmo's owners came home to find the firefighters working on Elmo, giving him the pure oxygen he needed and monitoring his heart, because these first responders were properly equipped and trained, Elmo survived and only has a limp back leg to show for his ordeal. It is fairly new concept to have animal resuscitation equipment designed specifically for dogs and cats. The oxygen masks are designed to securely fit over the snouts of large dogs or over the entire heads of small dogs and cats in order to better administer pure oxygen when they've suffered severe smoke inhalation. Today, there is no reason for a fire department to not have at least one of these resuscitators on each truck. I urge you to check with your local fire department, and if they don't already have one, buy them one. You never know whose life you can save by this simple gesture. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Hey, that was a fascinating tidbit, the pet tip of the day. I don't mind telling you that I actually revived my Scotty many years ago when we lived in Wardcliff. We had an in-ground pool, and I was working, and Nancy was working on her job, was not home. And I had a feeling I'd let the dog out, and the dog had always stayed away from the pool. Well, in this case, I looked out and saw my dog floating in the pool, and in the head of the pool had the circulator on, so the water was moving, and ahead of my dog, unconscious dog, was a baby rabbit. So what happened was the rabbit, trying to get away from my dog, ran accidentally into the pool, and so did my dog, not thinking. But I reached down, grabbed the dog, and started giving the dog mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And damned if that dog didn't start showing signs of life. And I grabbed the dog, got in the car, and went to that.
Where is she vet down there on Sterling?
Yeah, well, no. This was the veterinarian. That place wasn't there then. This was a vet at the corner of Forest Hill and University. It was on the triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
What was the name of it?
Whitney, I think, wasn't it?
Was it all pets?
Well,
anyway, I know exactly what we're talking about, yeah.
So I took the dog there, and they immediately went into action and put a tube down the dog, and the dog was breathing, and said, we'll do what we can to save your dog. And so they said, in essence, leave it up to us, and I left. And the phone rang an hour later and said, your dog is doing fine if you want to come over and see him. I went over to see him, and the tubes were out, and he was breathing on his own, but he was lethargic. And they said, we're going to keep him for a couple of more hours. So I went home, joyful that I actually had saved my dog through a bizarre idea of a human doing mouth-to-mouth with your dog. And about an hour and a half later, I got a call and said, your dog is not doing well. You need to come over. So I went over, and I don't remember the name of the vet, so I know you threw out some names, because what I'm going to say will not be complimentary. They had reinserted the tube, but I saw blood in the tube, and I think they punctured a lung, and my dog died.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But getting back to this suggestion, it would be interesting to know whether or not our local fire department has resuscitation units. Now, I'm going to guess that they do, and the reason I say that, I've heard stories where they have, quote, saved a dog, but unable to save another dog, which, there's no finality to the report, because, did you save it because you brought it out of a burning house, or did you save it because you grabbed the dog, brought it back, and maybe put the oxygen mask for an animal to revive them? I don't know. That would be a good bit of information to try to find out, wouldn't it?
Yep.
No, for sure.
They would.
Well, now you know the rest of the story. Hey, we have not had this day in history. Did we do it yesterday? I don't remember whether we did or not. Well, today, the 5th of August, Wednesday, in the year 2016, something happened that was not good. And what I want you to do is narrow it down to categories.
Okay. So with the date August 5th of what year?
2016. 10 years ago today.
Was it a
Get a category.
Was it an accident?
It was what?
Was it an accident? Something
No, it was not an accident.
Something with
happened.
a school?
No, it was not a school.
Okay.
Was it education?
Was it political?
No.
Was it violent?
Oh.
Was it? Oh yeah, was it violent? Yeah, that's a good question.
No. But say with the categories.
So it did not involve.
So we ruled out education.
Not
We
a,
ruled out entertainment.
not a collapse of something.
No.
Okay.
Was it weather related?
No.
Okay. Was it entertainment related?
No.
Not political. You already said
No.
that.
Yeah, not
Okay.
political.
So political, entertainment, disaster. Not a disaster.
Look over at Tyrus.
Was it sports?
Sport.
There you go.
Sports related.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Was.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
you what?
Somebody went in the.
No.
Okay.
It was bad.
Oh, it was bad.
Was it a?
Oh. No.
Was it a death in the sports world?
No.
Okay.
Somebody lost a big game?
No.
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 That's the year the Cubs won the series too.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Did it involve baseball?
No. But you're in sports, and
So we ruled out
what was taking place in 2016?
The Olympics?
Yes.
Oh.
The what Olympics?
The Summer Olympics.
Summer. Now you're on the right path, and let's go to where in 2016 were the Summer Olympic Games held?
Brazil.
Was that Rio?
Yes.
Yeah, Brazil.
Very good.
Okay.
So what do you recall that was bad during the 2016 Olympics?
Something with the male swimmers?
Well,
there was-
something, don't worry about the sex of the swimmers, but it had to do with what?
The water was so,
Yes.
so contaminated that
Exactly right.
Yes, I remember that.
Was
Yes.
the water was
Yeah.
junky.
That's right.
Contamination in the swimming events. Even leading up to the opening of the games, there was major publicity concentrated on exposing the polluted waters of Guantanamo Barra Bay. Say that again, Roger. I'm not going to. The area where the sailing and windsurfing competitions were to take place, along with many other waterfront areas. Large amounts of trash and sewage floated into the bay. Can you imagine that? Creating a long-term pollution issue of which native Brazilians were already well aware because they were going into it. And during the Olympic bidding process, officials had promised to improve the condition of the waters before the games, but budgetary constraints affected the progress leading up to the games. The World Health Organization warned athletes to cover cuts and scrapes with waterproof bandages before contacting. In other words, before getting into the water.
Swim your best, but also, there's this happening.
And you may remember, once the games concluded, reports of sickness among the athletes were incidental but not widespread. However, the games shed international light on the real water crisis, and officials received pressure from around the world to take care of the water and the problem.
Yeah.
What a terrible thing for a country to be known for.
Yes.
Yeah. And now you know the rest of the story. And I do remember the controversy over, because they actually were showing the color of the water, and it was not good. It made the Illinois River look like Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan.
I can't believe that the Olympic Committee even awarded it, knowing the condition. And just like, what were they thinking of?
They weren't thinking. That was part of the
Big problem.
part of the issue for that matter.
And we did do yesterday's. It had to do with George Washington becoming the
That's
master
right.
mason.
Yeah, part of the free mason. Yeah.
A different guy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's the peanut butter guy.
Say,
Yes.
when does Cornstalk have they announced their?
They've been having shows.
Well, we just don't hear. Are people going?
Or somebody's doing the Addams Family. That's on the marquee over at Peoria Players. Yeah, I've been told is one of them.
You usually go. You haven't gone this year?
No, I have not gone this year.
Okay. Is it, I can remember when Cornstalk was alive with activity, the shows were packed, the shows were good, the actors.
Year number 2 without one.
Yeah, so that makes it tough. I thought somewhere 5 Points might have taken a couple of them.
Last year they were at Dunlap.
They were at Dunlap. Mm-hmm.
What, Cornstalk?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're tent.
So they're not in the tent?
They don't have the tent yet. The new tent.
Well, what happened?
Piece by piece.
The real tent hasn't been there for years.
Right.
And then they had a hard shell thing that they put up. And then apparently that had to be replaced too.
Why, from storm damage or just didn't work out?
I don't know why. All I know is that last year they didn't have it. And it's supposed to be back this year. And it's still not there this year. So.
Well, that's a shame. Because, boy, how many of us can remember the great personalities, the great local talents that we had? And it was just truly community theater.
It was part of summer. It was
shows
at Cornstalk.
Yeah. So we've lost the tent. We've lost the Heart of Illinois Fair. We've lost the
Steamboat
Days.
What's next?
Yeah. What else is there for kids to do?
Not much. Other than thinking about bringing. There's that little group that's wanting to open Landmark again, make it a bowling alley again.
They've removed it.
Yeah.
They want to put it back.
No, I guess they never did take
the alley's still there.
Yeah, they did not take them out.
You remember the day when we used to have alleys? And we still do in the
There's some sections of town that still have alleys.
Did we finalize the question about trying to open a grocery store on Sterling
It's
Avenue?
going before the council to extend the TIF district that exists around Northwoods Mall. It's going to go before the city council as a recommendation, but I think it's going to take a couple months for them to study it. But they would want to extend the TIF district down the Sterling Avenue corridor, is what I heard.
Hope to attract. Is that restaurant still open on Sterling?
It used to be Bogies, and that's the Hungry Moose. Nope, it closed.
Yeah, they were moving stuff out of there the other day, I saw.
What a shame.
Yeah.
That's an area, unfortunately, the city is in decline, and I don't know how you can save it, unfortunately, because it has
stealing everything.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, let's wrap things up. Great show, everybody. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the same. Mike Dentino, by the way, has another week off. He's on vacation. And Dr. Sidler is still in Gatlinburg. John Disharoon will be here.
And me.
And you'll be there. And maybe we can talk David coming in as well. In the meantime, have a great day, everybody. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. We'll see you tomorrow. Be careful out there.
I see that worried look upon your face. You've got your troubles, I've got mine. She's found somebody else to take your place. You've got your troubles, I've got mine. I too have lost my love today. All of my dreams have flown away. Now just like you, I sit and wonder why. You've got your troubles, I've got mine. You need some sympathy, well, so do I. You've got your troubles, I've got mine.